federal ministers and our prime minister can't comment on ongoing court cases, and he commented on that.
But you
and said this is a miscarriage of justice.
You forgot the asterisk. If it's if it's Castro's bastard, then actually he gets to say what he wants.
That's true.
Because he has 3 ethic violations, and I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, no, I think let's go for 4. Let's go for the moon.
I'm saying let's go for 10. Let's go for 20. Let's see what he can do to change Canada for what he perceives as better for his pocket or whatever.
Yeah. You're listening to the Art and War podcast with your hosts, Mitch and Nathan. Mitch is a former airborne infantry squad leader who now spends most of his time coaching soccer. Nathan is a professional illustrator and an avid shooter with a couple of years of Canadian military experience. Together, they run the Seaburn Art page. Enjoy the show.
Not too bad. How are you?
So you can't use guitar cases for guns?
Nope. There's legal precedent. Some guy got caught with I think he was a retard. He just declared it because it was in his backseat or something. And they charged him with a concealed weapon, and he lost because it was in a guitar case.
Yeah. So you wonder, do you have to have a case and then just write gun on it in big letters, and then will you be okay?
I've always wanted to do the guitar case with all the stickers on it. That it's I'm with her, and
oh yeah,
the ultimate concealment, because nobody would ever think there'd be a gun in there.
Or why don't you just get a guitar case and then in some weird language, Russian, write gun, in a completely different language, so nobody fucking knows, and then you're it says gun on it, and they're no, that says whatever the fuck. You go to court and you're it says gun. Are you discriminating against whoever the fuck? The Bolsheviks?
Well, you got to remember it's 2021 and discrimination is okay again.
Oh
yes.
Oh fuck yeah.
Right. It was gone for those 50 years, but now it's 2021, so discrimination is cool.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're unvaxxed, discriminated. You don't deserve rights.
Discrimination is epic.
Wait, I just realized, have we been recording for a minute?
I literally announced that I'm recording, Nathan.
Yeah, and we've already gotten into the most deep issue of 2021.
Let's get to the most divisive shit right off the bat.
Just right off the bat.
Let's just piss everyone off.
I'm gonna make every Canadian gun owner mad right now and just say this.
Do it.
I'm gonna vote for Maxime Bernier tomorrow.
Oh my god, that's going to piss off so many fucking people.
They're going to be mad.
I don't know what that is. Explain.
Mad Max. Oh my god, yeah, explain them.
Think of it, Mitch, the Libertarian Party versus the Republican Party. That's the only way I can really... Remember when everyone got really mad about people who voted Libertarian splitting the vote?
Yeah.
Because, oh no, you didn't vote for Donald Trump, and now we have... It's basically that kind of situation. It's people...
Except picture it like this.
Yeah.
When there actually is differences between the Republican and Democrat Party on issues.
Oh yeah, there's none here.
But picture, there's literally no difference. And the people here are just simping so hard.
Mm-hmm.
So
for Aaron O'Toole.
Are Canadian libertarians essentially just like American libertarians in the sense that they're just hipster conservatives?
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's different here a little bit. Our the PPC, whether you love them or hate them for whatever reason, they've their first year they came in, they did abysmal. They had one seat, which was Maxime Bernier's, and he lost his seat. And in the last year, they've gone from polling at low single digits, between 1% and 3% at the beginning, to now they're well over 10%, I think, right?
I've even seen 20%. Alberta, I'm pretty sure was close to 20%. But
I mean, their policies.
Even if polls are even real,
are their policies
which I
Hillary has a 99% chance of winning on election night. Yeah, never forget.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, I'm just so tired of politics. I'm not going to vote tomorrow, or if I do, I'm going to spoil my ballot, throw it away. I don't know,
dude. I literally do not blame you.
Yeah,
it is you're literally screwed if you do, and you're screwed if you don't.
Is this Trudeau's fucking thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the federal elections here are tomorrow, so the timing of this podcast is fairly topical, I think.
Are there?
And, this will come out a week later after Trudeau's back in again. We're all in a gulag, or Aaron O'Toole again, and we're all in a gulag anyway.
Let's throw in an early plead. Please free us. Please, we didn't do anything wrong. Please, I'm a political prisoner.
Just to go on record, if I'm going to get put in a gulag, I just want to say this: I hate the Antichrist. So
Wait,
Yeah.
okay, so we're almost 5 minutes into this podcast. Have we introduced everyone yet?
We'll introduce.
I don't think we have.
Fuck that. We'll introduce after. How long has Trudeau been in office? I feel like it's been years.
Yeah,
2015.
2015, I think. Yeah.
Are there term limits in Canada?
No.
Nope.
No.
Oh,
Nope.
oh, so
He could genuinely be prime minister for life if he continues
Like,
to
didn't
get
his
elected.
dad run like 12 years? I'm gonna look this up right
yeah,
now.
yeah, I think it was 12 years. Yeah, I
And
mean,
I'm not
every-
talking about. Sorry, no, his real dad ran for 50 years in Cuba, but this guy, Trudeau, the guy that raised him here, this bastard, Trudeau Pierre. Let's do a quick little Google here.
and he did blackface,
Yes.
too, didn't he?
Holy smoke, 68 to 79, and then 79 to 84.
Holy smokes!
Yep.
I can't
Who the
believe they
heck?
took him back.
Who the heck voted for that guy? Well, not me. I was born in 94, so it wasn't me.
And he did blackface, like really bad blackface.
Yes.
His dad was more into other man's butts, but young Trudeau was he's into all of that interesting stuff, like painting himself up like a Punjabi guy and then just looking like an idiot.
Yeah, he didn't just do blackface once. He did like 2 or 3 times, I think.
It was more than enough. Like
Yeah.
especially like
Yeah.
in your 30s. He was like in his 30s. It wasn't like
Yeah.
a 15-year-old kid like look at me. It was
Yeah.
like a grown man being like I'm gonna look in the mirror tonight and be blackface and go out in
Yeah.
public.
I remember when they asked him about it, and the question in the press briefing was something along the lines of, like, did you do this again? Like, are all the photos that we came out? Because we have photos of you from like 2 or 3 different times,
Yeah.
in complete
Always looking
blackface.
excited and right at the camera, like he knew.
Yeah.
Oh, he knew.
And they ask him, "Hey, like, is this the last time you did this? Are there any other things we should know about?" And they just go like, "We can't confirm or deny that at this time." And you just fucking know. He's like, these blackface are the only times he's gotten caught.
Yeah. Well, it's like in a yearbook. Like he was a teacher.
Yeah.
Like doing this at
and
like
this
school
was
events.
not that long ago either. Like
No.
I think this was in the late
Like-
90s, wasn't it?
Like it wasn't like in '65 when like it was like funny. It was like literally like I think pretty sure it was like the 2000s when he was. still
Oh
a
no,
drama
that's right. It
teacher.
totally was. It was early
Yeah.
2000s.
Yeah,
Like, it was definitely post 9/11, bro. You know
Yeah.
you can't do that no more.
yeah. It was at
Well,
the
and
point where it was no longer cool or funny.
Yeah. Well, I kind of find those days were probably done in like the 20s because I think
Yeah.
people just like it was already a joke that was done. But
Yeah,
I guess you try to bring it back for the 2020s. I guess I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah. What do we need? What does this country need right now? We need to bring this back. Clearly,
We
it's
need
time.
more-
We need more blackface. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. We need more blackface, eh?
But yes, welcome to Canada, where you're talking with 3 Canadians and 1 American. Next week, there's only going to be one of us left, and it's going to be Mitch.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll all be in northern Quebec mining maple syrup for the totalitarian Justin Castro regime. He won't,
Being forced to speak French.
yeah, against my will.
So I'm like always
Just be la
learning.
bibliothèque.
I'm always learning about what's going up on in snowy Mexico from Nathan. But
It's because America is the center of the universe, and I'm not saying this like as an offensive thing. It is. In Canada, we're just like the upstairs neighbor that nobody cares about. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
even like I have all the time like with all the politics stuff I've been posting in my story. People like messaging me being like, "Who's a PPC? Who the heck is that?" Right?
Yeah. It's
And I-
all of our media is predicated on American media.
Yeah.
With the exception of CBC and a few other things, but your average person, especially these days, does not look. So, I remember, and very often if I have a political conversation at all with someone I don't know very well, they're like, "Oh yeah, the conservatives are like the Republicans, the liberals are like the Democrat," and it's incomparable. It is absolutely our 2 political systems are entirely incomparable, and our parties are completely incomparable. But because all of our media, especially our political media, is just fueled by the American entertainment media complex, that's what people think. That's just what people think, and it's really quite inaccurate, and it's really damaging for our political system, which I think is fucked regardless.
yeah, but
And that's what I've been kind of thinking of lately too. Is like there actually isn't really a Canadian culture anymore. Right? We're just basically all Canadian culture is now is just we're not American.
Yeah,
That's all we have. We're not like anything specific anymore. or anything that's like actually unique. It's just like, well, we're not American, eh? We don't need guns, eh? Like that's basically all we have. It's like that and Degrassi. Like that's pretty much.
Oh, I forgot about Degrassi. Mitch, have you ever seen fucking Degrassi?
Yeah, when Drake was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, Drake was on it.
Yeah.
Drizzy Drake in a
doesn't
wheelchair,
have legs
bro.
that work.
Yeah. But guns have very recently been banned in Canada, like ARs at least.
Yeah, ARs, the Beretta
and
CX4.
Black Rifle Coffee Company, which actually is kind of based because they're cringe.
Yes, they are. What happened to all the rifles that people had before that?
They went into closets and into hiding, man. I mean, nothing has been done yet is the thing. They banned all these different models. They sent a letter out like 6 months later or something. It was really late, I remember.
Yeah, only to the people who had them registered. So anyone who bought an AR-15 here had to register it.
Even if you bought it before the ban.
Yes. Since like the 90s, right?
Yeah, since the 90s, you had to register AR-15s. Basically, anything else on the list, you didn't.
Because they sent out this letter, and it basically was like phishing. Because like they have no idea who has what of the non-restricted stuff because it's not registered anymore. And honestly, God bless Stephen Harper for getting rid of that registration because he saved us a lot of headaches.
Yeah.
And
we miss you, Harper, please.
We do miss you, but like obviously he still is kind of cringe because he was like,
he's still a politician, but that was a good move.
Gun laws back to before the 90s, and he just was like, psych!
Yeah.
Just gonna get rid of registration. That's it. Then mic drop. But pretty much God bless Stephen Harper for doing that because that saved us a lot of trouble.
It did save a ton of trouble.
So how it works in Canada is when you move, you have to change your license address. So when I moved back to my parents' house because I sold my place because the inflation of houses was so insane that I made like $350,000 off my house selling it, and I owned it for 5 years, bro.
Yeah,
like and some retard from Toronto bought it, so jokes on you.
That's amazing.
I would not pay $570,000 to live in small town Ontario, but you did. Haha. Thank you. I put all that money into AMC, so whatever.
That's amazing. Did you make out like a bandit on it?
I didn't put all into AMC. I put 250 into like the typical boomer stocks.
250,000 into stocks?
Yeah, and then I got 70,000 into AMC, GME, BlackBerry, all the meme.
Why don't you buy some crypto with that?
Oh no. I hate crypto.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad. This is just me personally. I think it's literally end time stuff, like the mark of the beast, like just kind of like the moving towards that. And I just don't like it.
Okay, well then.
Yeah. That's interesting though. What do you think? Like it is that makes it different than, let's say, like stocks, where it's not necessarily a tangible thing that you're buying, but it does have value based on what people, whether they want it or not.
Yeah.
Like, what's the differential to you?
There's nothing different. And like you just point out to my brain, there is nothing different to it. It just my feels.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I have nothing against Bitcoin. Like if you want to, I personally do have things against cryptocurrencies, but like I don't have a problem if people want to have crypto. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. Just me personally, I just don't like it.
Yeah, and that's totally fair.
With that money though,
and guess what? If I lose out on money, like which I probably will, it's like that's my own fault for just my own opinions.
With that money, you could have came down to America, bought a really nice plot of land, and started a homestead, and not had to deal with Canadian gun laws.
I know, and trust me, my friend, we're in contact with lawyers in North Carolina and Texas trying to get the heck out of here. So
yeah,
like I'm not even joking. The last 18 months has been extremely hard mentally. Tears.
We'll have to talk.
Cough it out.
We'll have to talk off air, but Nathan and I kind of have a very rough idea plan, and
Nathan's literally already doxed you about it, bro. Don't worry.
We all know.
But I know, like all of us Canadian boys and Americans as well. It's been a really hard time just mentally dealing with all the absolute crap that's been going on in our country.
Fucking autism.
Yeah.
But pretty much, my family and I have been like religiously looking to try to get the absolute heck out of here because I don't see it going.
Well, we're not too far behind you.
I know, and that's the thing, and that's what sucks because it's like. But the thing is, at least you guys still have the states' rights. When in Canada, it's literally. Yes, I know, kind of, but yeah.
So I just have all these random non-on-topic questions about Canada.
Yes.
Oh yes.
So
please.
Oh yeah, bring it on.
Distract me. Please.
So
yes, we've got the Goose Squad.
So towards at the end of every election, I feel like it's if so and so wins, I'm fucking moving to Canada. What does that look like in Canada when like Donald Trump wins or when Joe Biden wins and all these people are saying that? Does shit actually happen or is it all just fucking mouth and lip service?
I have literally never met a single American who moved here for a political reason. So many people say,
Yeah.
I'm going to move to Canada if so-and-so wins. And they
Yeah, no
don't
one ever
because
does.
their money's worth less. They'll make less money. They'll pay more in taxes. And no matter who you have in power in the U.S., you are going to be worse off moving to Canada.
Yes.
That is
because
the reality. If you're already employed, there is no reason to move to Canada because you will do worse doing the same thing.
Yes.
And I'm calling all of you Yankees out right now. If you want to move here because of a political leader, I will take your spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can trade.
I will trade.
I'll just, like, trade
unless
Social
it's
Security
California.
number.
No
Yeah.
California,
No
no
way.
New York, no New Jersey, none of those disgusting
New York's
states.
not that
Honestly,
bad.
you're probably worse off than us.
Yeah.
That is a cope.
New York is definitely worse than Canada for a lot of gun laws. You think you guys pay like comparable or maybe more taxes than us in a lot of areas. I don't know, man.
Upstate New York isn't as bad, right? It's just like with rural Canada. It's not as bad. It's just obviously the cities is where it's the cesspools that just ruin the rest of the
I don't live in New York
Urbanites.
anymore, so I'm comfortable with saying this. In upstate New York, nobody fucking follows any of the gun laws up there. Like nobody. And I know that anywhere once you get up near Albany, or Albany for my accent,
Albany.
there are
Coffee.
just signs that say "fuck the Safe Act" like everywhere. Just randomly, you'll be driving because most of it's fucking cornfields and apple orchards. So even like on Columbus Day, you're going apple picking, and you're kind of like just by yourself in this gigantic apple orchard. There's just a random sign somewhere that says "fuck the Safe Act," and like nobody in upstate follows any of those stupid fucking gun laws.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about Americans because in Canada you would never see that.
You don't see that
because
and,
people are so scared. Like
Yeah.
they're like because like you're told basically at the gun course if you ever tell anyone that you have guns, like you're gonna be instantly robbed. Like you're gonna be a target for assassination and like like the lizard people are gonna come take your guns. Like that's basically what it's made out to be like.
Yeah.
And I've noticed like just in my personal life, it's like I've never had that problem. And obviously, knock on wood, I don't want my house being broken into over my guns. But it's like, but still, it's like they basically brainwash you into thinking that if you
like
ever
it's a dirty thing.
Yeah, like you literally like keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you tell people about that, like that you like your sexual preferences over that you tell them they have guns. That's pretty much
Jesus
like what they
Christ.
try to make it out to be like in Canada.
Yeah, no, that's so
I
true.
have been attacked for like people didn't even know that I did anything other than supported the right to have a hunting rifle, and people have yelled at me. So for a little while there, it's something I just didn't bring up.
Nathan, did I ever
Now I
tell
don't give a fuck.
the story of Hurricane Sandy in upstate New York and my grandfather?
No.
Nope.
Tell me.
Do you guys ever hear of Hurricane Sandy?
What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
dude, I'm kidding. We literally hate like everything that happens in the states.
Okay.
We know, like we literally, it's like that's our entire news.
Yeah, it's all our news.
Okay, so
Like I go to the gym, it's fucking CNN playing on the TVs.
It's not CBC, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. It's just like I went to the gym to go for a run the other day, and the thing in the headline was like, oh, 9/11 memorial and how it reminds us of the January 6th insurrection, and it's on fucking CNN, and I'm just like trying to run and getting fed all this fucking bullshit American propaganda, and it was the most annoying thing. Sorry, go on.
What's up, gang? It's the producer of the show, BR, just checking in on you. I know this is a lot of Canadians to deal with in one sitting, so I wanted to make sure everyone was doing good. But give them a chance. They dislike government and appreciate firearms, so, they're good Canadians. Anyway, I'm going to hit you with a quick spiel about the Patreon. Want to help us keep the lights on here at the Art and War Show while receiving exclusive listener benefits? With 5 different levels that you can subscribe to, giving access to all of the lads' content that would get them nuked off Instagram, downloadable high-res guides, behind-the-scenes info, memes not fit for the boring, and at our highest tier, receive custom art from the masterful art gimp himself, Nathan, once a month. You can find our Patreon via the link in this episode's description, or in the Seaburn Art Page's bio on Instagram. Thanks guys for listening, now let's get back to the show.
So in Hurricane Sandy hit New York pretty hard, especially in upstate, kind of like our small little mountain towns. And where my grandfather lives, and he lives literally in the side of a mountain near Hunter and Tannersville. And I don't expect anybody to fucking know that, but there's this one bridge that goes into town, and it was slightly damaged, but it still worked. FEMA came up and was like, "Hey, we're shutting this bridge down," and the town was like, "How the fuck are you going to shut this bridge down? We will all literally die because we cannot get supplies if you shut this bridge down." So FEMA was like, "No, we're shutting it down." And I don't know how this wasn't a national incident. I struggle finding even articles from like the time when it did happen, but I can tell you from personal account that the whole town went and got all of their guns and they stood on the bridge, and FEMA was like, "No, we're shutting it down." And my fucking grandfather was out there. He's like 80. He was like 85 at the time. He's out there with a gun that he brought home from World War II, and like this whole town just has their guns, and FEMA's like, "Nope, we're shutting it down." So at the time, I don't remember who was governor. It might have been Cuomo. I don't remember. Sent up SWAT and New York
Oh my
State
God.
police with guns, but the
Jesus.
New York State police that were stationed in upstate were like, "Fuck no, we're not going up there. Like, this is the only bridge that they have." But
Yeah.
he sent New York City cops. He sent SWAT with their guns, and all these people were standing on the bridge still. They're like, "Nah," and it was literally like a standoff where you're not shutting this fucking bridge down.
I
That is
love
literally-
that. Like, that would not happen here.
That is so based. It would
Yeah.
happen here if it was like the native people.
Yes, yes.
Right? 'Cause they're literally the only guys in this
That-
country that will stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like,
Like the Oka Crisis was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
And that is a weird sentence to say, but
yeah,
but it
Like-
worked. It worked.
yes,
Yeah.
like
What was
like
that?
if you ever want to know if there's AK-47s in Canada, do something to the natives, and they
Yeah.
will show them. They'll show them off because they have
Yeah.
like all like Type 56s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The shooting range I like to go to here. It's just like middle of nowhere. Anyone can go. You're supposed to book it with your Department of Natural Resources card, but fucking no one
Blue.
does. And it's right next to a native reserve, and they don't give a fuck. I sold a D-ball a little while ago, like an IR device, and it was a native guy. He just came up here, and he had like a full rig with like PVS somethings, 15s maybe.
And I don't blame him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, like yeah. There are reasons for this, and it makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. I don't know why more people
Yeah.
aren't doing that too.
Don't-
Yeah, they've been fucked over by the government by more than basically anyone, and they continue to be.
Don't the natives in Canada continue to get fucked over by the Canadian government? Unlike here, where we still kind of fuck the natives over here, but it's like,
It's very
yeah,
different,
It's
and
different.
it's not nearly as bad. But yes,
I'm not like an expert on like the native stuff. Like I'm not gonna like I literally don't really know. I don't really follow it. But Nathan sounds like he knows.
I know a little.
Yeah,
bit. I
Nathan,
I
go
know
for
that
it.
A lot of native communities don't have access to running water, and the money that is funneled to them is funneled into the wrong places and given to the wrong people.
Yeah, that's right. It's like a whole bunch of corruption. Like basically like how it works. Now I am kind of reminded here. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Don't take this offensive. But like I'm pretty sure how it works. Like the government just gives money to the chiefs, and then depending on how good your chief is, like if your chief's actually a person of the people, is if you're gonna get like the money, put in the right spots. When they could just basically pocket it, pay themselves heavily, and kind of screw over the rest of the tribe or
Yeah.
the reservation or whatever. But yeah, like I said, I don't like if there's gonna be anything like that in Canada. Like it would only be the natives that actually stood up for themselves. The white
Yeah.
people in Canada are just gonna be like, well, like at least I can still go to Timmy's, eh?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I can get arrested for posting something on the internet. Maybe I that's okay.
maybe I should
It'll-
stop
it'll
posting
help.
about it.
Yeah.
Oh, if my 4-year-old kid wants to go transgender and I don't agree with it because he's 4 years old, they can come take my kid away.
Yep.
Oh, I
Okay,
guess-
that's fine.
I
Someone
guess.
arrested for
Oh my
not
goodness,
being
double
okay with
doubles.
it.
so
Well, maybe we should say too, though, just for the American audience, like what we're talking about with the Oka Crisis, at least in like a general sense, kind of what it was too, because it's in many ways pretty similar to like that bridge standoff, where it's like, no, this is a bureaucratic mess. What are you doing?
Yeah.
It was, I believe, and I might get a couple things wrong, and I'm going to graze over a lot of the details because it doesn't matter, but it was, I think, a golf course was going to be built, and a lot of people didn't want it. on this reserve, and they came in and started building anyways. And then they showed up and protested. We're like, no, don't build this thing. We don't want it. And then I think the police showed up and we're like, no, we're going to stay here till this is built. And then, yeah, just like tons and tons of natives from this reserve and from other reserves came out. Like there's great pictures if you want to look it up. With AKs, there's like a guy with a VZ52, which is awesome and really weird and out of place.
Oh yeah.
There's tons of guys with AKs that are just standing there and getting right in the face. Like the Canadian Army was deployed.
Yeah.
So that this golf course would get built.
The Canadian Army?
Yeah,
Yep.
they sent out the army with not BMPs. What are they
and
called?
also too, the natives were all rocking M81 woodland, so that's also
Yes, they
freaking-
were. God's
yes.
plaid. It was there.
So
Um,
they already won the war just by the dress code. Like the
Yeah, just by
Canadians,
drip.
like basically were like all in like Vietnam gear in the '90s because like
Yeah.
Canada just never puts any money into their military.
Did the Canadian Army have live rounds during this?
Oh
Yeah.
yes, yeah. They were
died.
told.
Holy shit.
Like I worked with a guy who was he was with the army at the time, and he said, "Oh yeah, they were told as soon as they stepped out of their LAVs that they were to be locked and loaded." And he said too that like they had
Over a golf
helicopters that were
course.
invaded. Yeah, over a golf course being built on a reservation. That there was a dispute over this over a golf course.
But
They deployed the army.
The police will not come to take your guns.
No, the police are secretly
But-
based.
but
They're on
if
our
you're
side.
building- If there's a golf course and you go against that golf course, oh my
You're gonna
goodness.
fucking die, boy.
Yeah.
If they had live rounds, so you remember the riots that happened like 2 years ago over the summer?
Which one? The BLM ones?
Yeah,
I-
which one? You got to be more
I
specific.
don't even know. I don't even know
Which-
the one where like they were deploying active duty military.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
So I had friends that were in the 82nd that literally got detained by MPs because they were told to draw live rounds for their 240s and their saws for their squad, and they're like, "Fuck no, we're not like we'll go." They were still like, "Yeah, we'll go and we'll like help people like block shit off, but we're not drawing live fucking rounds for this. Are you fucking stupid?"
Yeah, no. That's
And
insane.
they got detained for it, and then I think that whole thing kind of got scrapped because I think they realized there's a difference when they show up with like empty M4s. Like it's a show of force. People don't really know better, but the people that would have done something
Yeah.
about it do know better seeing an empty M4. If
Yeah.
they would have showed up with live rounds,
that is
would-
drastically escalating the
that
situation.
people,
Yes, absolutely.
holy shit.
Oh, here, I just pulled it up for you, Mitch. So 2,500 regular and reserve troops were put on notice over a golf course. 2,500 troops over
That's how-
a golf course.
That's
Yeah.
how important golf is to us Canadians.
So if you think it can't happen over dumb shit, it has, and it will continue
Yeah.
to.
And again, remember, like people actually died. There was
Wait,
there
people
were
died?
there was shooting. Like yeah, 2 people
What the
died, and
fuck?
a 14-year-old was stabbed in the heart by a Canadian soldier.
Yeah, but you have to
Yeah, never
remember,
forget.
guys,
He survived.
Canada is very peaceful and we're very nice people, so this
Yes.
didn't happen.
Yeah, unless you mess with our golf courses, then
Yes. Oh my goodness, my
it's over.
my blood just boiled.
When did this happen?
Yeah, 22 soldiers were
1990, I
injured.
believe.
Yeah,
In the 90s.
so not even that long
in
ago.
the fucking
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah,
And the big outcome was so like the natives did like they shot the crap out of an RCMP cruiser. Like it's in one of their museums somewhere in Ontario with like tons of holes in it, just like twisted metal. And then they ran away afterwards, and helicopters couldn't find them because it was woods. They just buried their guns and came back for them later. And so, which is like, But
Is it possible
Yeah.
to learn this power?
yeah, the outcome though was that they didn't. I don't think they really caught anybody who was involved. The golf course, I don't think, ended up being built eventually.
yeah. So
And,
it did end up
um,
working.
Yeah, but
Um,
it did. But AKs got banned like 8 months later. They banned all AKs. They passed the biggest gun legislation since the 30s in Canada,
Yeah,
where they banned like AKs, FALs, G3s. They put all the magazine capacity limits in place. They made it impossible to shoot full autos anymore, which were previously registered, but you could still shoot them.
Yeah.
Like all these things came in, and I'm not saying it's because of that, but I think it's because it was showing that like responsible use of firearms, which I would say like having your territory taken from you without your consent is a pretty responsible time to be like, fuck off, eh?
Yeah.
I think that's why they really rammed that through to get rid of all that stuff, because it showed that it worked.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also like in Canada too, it's like really, really, really taboo to like ever use guns for self-defense. Like
Yeah,
they
super.
really, really, really. So this is like
Yeah.
a famous story around me. A guy was a firearms instructor, and he was having his house firebombed. Okay, so
Yeah.
he was having issues with his neighbors. I
Firebombed?
don't know exactly what
What
happened.
the
like
fuck's
Molotov
going on in
cocktail.
Canada?
Canada's insane, man.
Yeah.
Dude, all of you Americans that think that Canada's just like this peaceful place, it's like there's like literally it's like the same issues that you guys have, or just
Yeah.
we have a smaller population. But anyways, this guy was having his house firebombed
Yeah.
because his neighbors were having a problem, and I think the neighbors like hired these guys to do this. But anyways, he
Yeah.
ran downstairs, unlocked his safe, grabbed a revolver, loaded it, so it wasn't even loaded because like
Well,
you can't
took the
have
trigger lock off first too. Don't
Yeah,
forget that. I'm
sorry.
sure you had
Yes.
it all locked up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Loaded it, so that would have took like 2 minutes. Ran outside while they're firebombing his house. His like literal roof was on fire. He could have shot them if out of anger. Do you know what? He shot above them to make them screw off.
Yeah.
The OPP came, which is the Ontario Provincial Police, and sorry, I had to burp. I had that morning Whopper burp, but the OPP came. They're like, okay, like yeah, we get why you did that. No big deal. Like, see ya. So they took off, and then like I believe like the head OPP office, which is like I wouldn't even doubt if their address was 666, Toronto Boulevard,
Antichrist Lane.
Antichrist Lane. But they're
None
like,
of that is good.
they're like, no, please, no. So they literally like came back and arrested him, and he had to spend I think 2 years in court
Yeah.
fighting like and spend like thousands and thousands of dollars. And I believe, yes, I have met the guy. He was at a gun show the one time, like after it was all done. But it took 2 years of court battling, and he didn't even like he shot like a warning shot, and they took off.
Yeah.
And that's enough to literally have 2 years of your life wasted and thousands of your dollars just because they're like, no, you can't. Like only the police are there to defend you with their guns, and you cannot use them. And they will make sure to drag your life through mud just to prove to you that no, only we can do this. But it's interesting because now we've had other stories that got to Saskatchewan and Alberta,
Mm-hmm.
which have been controversial as well.
That's my
I'd say-
ATV. I don't know you.
Yeah, and like I'm pretty sure the guy like used a Tokarov that was not even registered to defend himself, and he got off the charges.
Huh.
Because those guys, because it was 3 other people. I'm not going to say who they were.
Yeah,
and like I think he ended up shooting one of them because they had guns as well, and he got off the charges. And Justin Trudeau himself was like, "This needs to be, dealt with, or this is not right." And it's like you're a prime minister. You have no, like, you literally shut up. Like, you have
we
nothing.
even have laws in place saying that our federal ministers and our prime minister can't comment on ongoing court cases, and he commented on that.
But you
and said this is a miscarriage of justice.
You forgot the asterisk. If it's if it's Castro's bastard, then actually he gets to say what he wants.
That's true.
Because he has 3 ethic violations, and I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, no, I think let's go for 4. Let's go for the moon.
I'm saying let's go for 10. Let's go for 20. Let's see what he can do to change Canada for what he perceives as better for his pocket or whatever.
Yeah. No, but that was an interesting one in Saskatchewan, and it, like, when you say it was controversial, this also went through the courts for at least a year, if not 2. And it, to lay the scene where you would go, like, I think with my limited knowledge of the U.S., or at least what I like perceive is generally what they would be like. I mean, this is clear, like, this is open and shut. There's no point. It was 3 individuals, again, not going to say any names, that were like on a robbery streak, like had been caught stealing before. At least one of them was on parole. They were drunk driving. I believe the car they were in was stolen. They had a firearms prohibition for life, which in Canada gets handed out left and right and seems to never stop people to be like, you can't do that. But they do it because they're a criminal. They had a firearm that was loaded in the vehicle. And then they, at least it's alleged, I don't know because I wasn't there, that they tried to run over his wife while one of them tried to steal his ATV.
Wow.
And a hang fire is what went off. It wasn't a purposeful shot. The court decided it was a hang fire. And that's what ended up killing one of them. And it took him like almost 2 years in court. But he had to sell his farm and move because people demonized this guy.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yes, because like that's the one thing too. It's like people think Canada is just like this like peaceful place where there's like where all the races come for like harmony, and that's not true at all either. Like there's tons and tons of race like just issues, and like just to say one in our area, for me as Southern Ontario, it's like we don't like French people,
Neither do I.
right?
Fuck the
Yeah,
French.
the issues are very different than in America, but they still.
And I will say too, and that's not even a race thing, but like
For me, it's a race thing. Fuck
but
the
also
French.
Yeah, he hates the French.
you know what? It's funny.
Solidarity.
I've always not liked French people. Any French men I've met on Instagram or in person at like gun rights rallies and stuff, they're always good dudes. They're just Canadians, just like us. But but all your French politicians are literally lame. All hail Maxime Bernier, though. But
Mad Max, yes.
but like one of the big issues, especially with Canada, is between whites and natives.
Oh my
Right?
god.
Does Canada have a gun
There's a
problem?
lot of anger there.
Yeah,
There's
there's a lot of anger there. And,
there is a lot of anger there, and like
yeah.
I'm not going to try to pretend there's not. I'm not going to be like,
Yeah.
no, it's all good. Like there is tons. Like in my area,
Yeah,
there's a lot of vehicle theft,
yeah.
and it's usually blamed on the natives. Is that true or false? I'm not going to say because I don't know. I'm not at all these crimes. But there has been one where a man heard his truck being broken into, so he grabbed his shotgun, and the guy I don't know exactly what happened. You have to look into it yourself. But anyways, one guy ended up getting shot by a shotgun, and he same thing. Like he had to have like police protection 24/7 because that's the thing. It's the same with like the BLM issue in the States. Is like that's kind of like our issue in Canada. Is that it's like, and if one person gets shot on either side of the conflict, then it turns
the
into a
tensions
very,
get
very
way worse.
high tension, and like there has to be police protection 24/7.
Yeah, it happened here in my province with the fishery. The
Oh yeah, that was crazy all over the news. I remember that.
yeah, Isaac, who came on the second episode of the podcast, he's native, and he's been my best friend for a really
He's
long time.
native?
So yeah,
He looks like the stereotypical burly Canadian fucking like like what are they called, loggers? Like he literally looks like a Canadian fucking logger.
Well, if you look up at the picture to your right, I think am I in the right? That's basically what the typical Canadian looks like.
yeah.
Your average Canadian, is hoser.
Yeah.
Just
he
kidding.
looks kind of like you, just like a black beard and a little
Yeah.
darker.
Sorry,
Yeah,
But,
it doesn't have that ginger
yeah,
beard.
sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. Go
But,
ahead.
but yeah, he no, you're okay. Yeah, he gives a little bit of insight into just all of the bullshit, and especially on reserves where he has an uncle, which he I'm not going to get into his particular family politics, but all I'll say is it's really, really just not great on the reserves, and it's kind of just kept that way culturally, and like part of it by accident, part of it by design. And I really feel bad for the people that are live there and are stuck there, but it's this perpetual cycle that I don't see ever getting fixed.
It sounds like Canada has all of the problems that America had 100 years ago.
Yup.
Plus
Yup.
modern day problems.
Yes. Oh shit. Right. Before we go on, I would like to talk of a very recent case that happened. I think a couple months ago, where a guy spent 2 years almost fighting the legal system because 3 men broke into his house, zip-tied him and his wife and his son.
Oh yeah,
Yup.
this.
He managed to break out, got in a fight with one of the... I'm reading about it right now. It's like they broke into his house with a illegal sawed-off shotgun. One man was wearing a clown mask, and the other was wearing a balaclava, and the third one had a scarf pulled up to his eyes. Yeah, I'm reading the article, and he got in a fight with them, and in the struggle, he shot 2 of them. Like, he shot one of them while they were fighting over the gun, and the next one while he was attacking him. And they charged him for fucking second-degree murder. He did not know these
Was he in
people.
his house? His own house?
Yes, in his own house.
What the fuck
guy
is
was-
going on in
That's a huge
Canada?
mistake.
Being
You
held
should've-
hostage in his own house.
You should
Yeah.
have realized that's illegal. Like, why, I don't understand why these criminals don't get that it's illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's literally the insanity, and that's I think Ontario, especially, like I think more Alberta, Saskatchewan, they're going to be a little bit more lenient for defense, but still, it's not a good climate for defending yourself. Like you're pretty much like which obviously, yes, it's probably worth more to face 12 than be carried by 6.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like at the end of facing those 12, you'd probably want to be carried by 6 instead, because it's like, this isn't even worth my time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this makes me think, like, Hoser, you and I, you have been doing it for a lot longer than me, but like really try and, I'm not gonna say preach, but spread the idea of like self-sufficiency.
Preaching, brother.
Yeah, individualism, trying to but try and make something for yourself, because there's this sort of like culture of being like in servitude of the state that you get
Yes.
started in from a very early age in Canada, where like it's, if something's going wrong, you just have to go to the local government office for XYZ and they'll fix your problem. And maybe they will in like 3 to 4 years when they clear the backlog, but it's really sad to hear these cases. And I think that one was in Edmonton, I believe, which is like Alberta, Saskatchewan are the ones I think of as being like the more
I thought it was
like
in
free
Hamilton.
provinces.
I thought it was in like Toronto or Hamilton or something like that. One of those cesspools.
Yeah. Urbanites.
I'm looking at it right now. It was, it was Collingwood, Ontario.
Oh, okay. I was totally wrong.
Oh, yeah. Hey, did you ever look up the 2 cops that shot each other? They got in a gunfight in Ontario. Look up
I was reading this, yeah.
Yeah, look up that one.
Yeah,
So basically, there was like an argument, and basically the one cop drew his gun, and then the other cop drew his faster, and then shot the guy like 10 times in the vest or something like that.
So,
And none of them were charged.
Nope, it's administrative paid leave for both of them.
Holy crap.
But it's to say, if that happened at a gun range with 2 people in an argument, it would literally be like they probably would shut the range down, and like it probably wouldn't, like, you know what I mean? Which obviously it's inappropriate. That should never happen. But like,
Yeah, there's like definitely different classes in Canada for like, if something happens with Group X, it's okay, but Group Y does the same thing. Again, whether it's appropriate or not, it'd be totally different consequences.
So this, everything that I'm hearing today, and that I've kind of been learning since getting with Nathan sexually, is that Canada is not at all what we perceive it to be. But a point that I just had this flashback in middle school. I had to watch Bowling. I think it was Bowling for Columbine by Michael Moore.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, so that part, I'm pretty sure it's in that documentary where he goes up to Canada to try to prove a point about like how people trust, and he was just knocking and walking into people's fucking houses in Canada just to prove a point that like, oh, Canadians aren't like afraid of like people breaking in, and the whole idea of self-defense in America. Was that just bullshit? Because it sounds like Canada is fucking,
entire movie was
fucking
bullshit.
Canada was fucking lit.
In my opinion, maybe in the 60s. Before the 60s, I think like Canadians like probably didn't lock, like even in the States too, you didn't have to lock your doors, you didn't have to worry about your neighbors, you didn't have to worry about crime. But now since basically the family unit has been destroyed and people replace, mom and dad with drugs or alcohol or crime, right?
No, you got a great point.
It's like if you think of like my brother-in-law, this is very tragic. His cousin was going through therapy with some stuff. He had some issues, and so with current events, because I don't even want to say the names, it just makes me so cringed out. But pretty much, they shut down his therapy because it was too dangerous, and then he ended up killing his dad.
Jesus,
that's so terrible.
He killed his own father. Right,
and that's access to mental health support here is pretty bad. It is
pretty bad, and that's what's interesting too, because like I'll have like it hasn't been very many people. I've basically been preaching against current events for the past. I will also say preaching because I am preaching, but like
preach it.
I will preach right now, brother. But,
let me hear it.
But out of my 28,000 followers, I know that all of them are active with my story, but I've literally had 6 people in the last year and a half call me out. But I've had them be like, "Oh, you it's not even that bad in Ontario, like blah blah blah, like just get over it." And it's like literally, it's like you have no idea anyone's story, what's going on in their life, at any time. It's like that's why it's just so like weird just to come judge, right? Because like that's what happened to my brother-in-law. Like his cousin killed his own father because his mental health services were suspended because of the coup. And that saved his life, but not his father's.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Yeah, what the American perception of Canada is, but
Yeah.
like, I live in a town of like 300 people. I
Base.
think there's give or take, and I lock my doors at night because, and I have like cameras out because, yeah, like Hoser's saying, like people have replaced a lot in their life with drugs, alcohol, addiction.
Yeah.
And it's not like people decide to be that. Like no one grows up and says, "Oh, I want to be a drug addict when I grow up." Nobody. Maybe one person. They're that like weird kid in the back, but nobody wants that. But I mean, the sad thing with Canada is, like, I think of like the American dream as something that everyone in the world kind of wants. Replace American with whatever country they live in. Like, I want to work hard, build something for myself, and be able to sort of relax a little bit and enjoy it. And especially in the last couple of years, like 2008, the whole world was hit with a massive recession. We got it again when we elected JT.
Yes.
But then now with the COOF, it's been downhill. I think people are in like a horrible place, and it is so important that people, whether it's through an official system, which is what I would want people to do, because you'll get the best help when you get it, or just through friends and family, like reach out. It's so bad. It's so bad. Even in places where you wouldn't even think of, like, oh, again, like tiny town, you would think it wouldn't happen here. But like when I'm not running Misty Mountain and wheeling and dealing the SERP, like I work as a paramedic, and yeah, like even young kids are dying of overdoses or gang violence, and it's like I live in the middle of nowhere, and it's still happening. Like it's such a problem, but it's ugly to talk about, and like I don't have the solution for it. That's a big question, but yeah. If you know someone who's having a rough go, just see how they're doing. Might make more of a difference than you think. These are tough times, and everybody needs somebody.
When it comes to American influence in Canada, one thing that I was shocked to learn, and I heard about this from, I have another Canadian friend that's not Nathan.
Is it
You
Doug?
cheating on me?
I've known this guy for years, and
He's cheating
yes,
on me.
but back in
He's cheating on him with you.
back in like
He makes better maple
2015,
story, buddy. Sorry.
he was like, he became a hardcore Trump supporter. And I'm like, dude, you live in fucking Canada. Like, why the fuck do you care about our politics? And one thing that I'm learning is that there is, like, our politics and that cult culture is spilling up north, south, east, and west of the United States, all over the world. And I just don't understand, like, what is that mentality of, for example, whether it's Trump, Biden, whoever the fuck it is, what's going on in Canada to make people care that much about American politics?
Well, it's like I said before, like America is the center of the universe for culture, right? Like the center of the world. So pretty much, because like even like with Trudeau, like nobody ever said assault weapon up here, like that wasn't a thing. See ya. But like nobody ever said like terms like that. But then once it was starting to be said, sorry, and like CNN and stuff like that. That's when Trudeau and his goons all started saying those same terms. Like they'd be like, you know that, with this, they can take their pistols to the hockey arenas. It's like, well, actually, no, you can't technically in Canadian law. But they just like did that same type of like basically like 1990s like American gun grabber rhetoric. But it's just basically it's like whatever you guys are doing, we're gonna be doing 10 years down the road or 5 years, and it seems to be almost getting that gap seems to be getting closer and closer and closer. Like in my province, Doug Ford, who like here, just one second, I need to spit on the floor. After saying that guy's name, he was supposed to be our Trump. Like he was like basically marketed as like Ontario's Trump. He's gonna stand up to the teachers' unions. He's gonna get rid of corruption. He's gonna, he's gonna conserve so much because he's so conservative, bro. And then like basically we just got absolutely pranked in Ontario, just like Alberta just got absolutely pranked with Jason Kenney because that guy is.
Alberta just put in vaccine passports, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no. It's if a business puts it in, there's no more restrictions. But if the business doesn't put it in, they get more restrictions. So it's not like they're forcing you to do it. They're not forcing your hand here, my friend. They're just forcing you to do it.
It's a different strain, bro. It's not even like that, okay? Bro,
Dude.
please.
Man. So the we just had a provincial election here, and the Conservatives won by a landslide, and a lot of that I think was one, the super broken healthcare system, but two, that one of the promises was to get rid of the vaccine passport, which is fairly unpopular on both sides of all sides.
Everyone hates it. Literally, everyone hates it.
Everyone hates it.
So is that reactionary
even the-
politics that we have in America the same thing going on in Canada, in the sense where like
Yes.
PPC, brother. Like that's literally the reactionary politics right now is PPC.
Yeah.
And like I just went to so PPC, just for the Americans that are listening, is People's Party of Canada. It's and like Misty already said, it's like a newer party. But like I just went to a rally in Elmer, Ontario, which is like a little farm town.
Yeah.
And it had like my guess was 3,000 to 5,000 people come out to listen to Maxime Bernier talk about no more vaccine passports. Right?
Freedom for all Canadians.
And it felt amazing. It was great just to be in a crowd again. But like, yeah, like we have the same reactionary politics, and that's basically what, because like the reactionary is the Conservatives are now going farther left to try to, uber trick the liberals, bro. They're gonna own the liberals with facts and logic and trickery and lying, because that's what we want in a leader. We want a liar. I want someone who's gonna lie. I don't want to hear what you're gonna say. I want to hear the lie. Trick those libs, brother. Woo! Right?
oh yeah,
It's
But like,
I won't make it very secret, and I feel like I should say this out right now. I don't like Maxime Bernier, and I don't dislike him for many reasons other than he's a politician. He's a career politician. And, I've talked about a whole bunch of times how I think, to overuse the quote, if voting meant anything, they wouldn't let us fucking do it. But,
yeah, I like that.
yeah. But my mind jumps back to the fact that this guy was the foreign affairs minister for Harper. Like, the swamp within the swamp within the swamp.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fanaticism around, Trump and all of that. But in the end of the day, he ended up being, he was reactionary. He was the reactionary politics, kind of the populist movement to sweep America. And then there was nothing to show for it.
But guys, I'm so conservative. I'm going to let these rappers out of jail the last day, not my own supporters at January 6th.
passed.
That's how conservative I am.
Not Edward Snowden, not Julian Assange. Just
Guys, this is possibly the most conservative move in history. Okay?
When I
right? Like, it's, yes.
when you point out,
Because here's the thing, because like,
oh, go ahead. No,
Sorry.
you go ahead.
am I, okay. Because like, here's the thing. I don't actually care if people, if you want to vote conservative, if you want to vote PPC, you want to vote liberal, I don't actually care.
Yeah. Likewise,
Right?
you just don't want to fucking vote.
If you don't want to vote, I don't care. It literally does not offend me at all.
Yeah.
The thing is that does offend me is when people come to me and say, I'm like, you're the effing problem in Canada. Like I had some guy tell me the other day that, no, you are the problem in Canada. It's like, buddy, I'm literally having children and I'm raising them to be self-sufficient Christians that love God. And I'm the problem
Yes.
just because I won't vote for your guy that wears red high heels in public. Like that, yeah, it's such a military strategic man wearing those red shoes. But yes, like, I don't care. Like, and that's the thing. When Nathan pointed out that he doesn't like Maxime, I wasn't sitting here being like,
Yeah.
no, he's my guy, bro.
Yeah. It's
I'm gonna
super important to be able to respect people's opinions, I think.
Yes.
Like, I will respect anyone's opinion, providing they don't want to put me in a fucking cage. Or
Yeah, because here's the thing. Because like the reason why I've been memeing, like making like memes and making fun of conservatives on my story, is because I've been seeing all these conservatives calling me a soy jack and stuff because I want to vote or allegedly want to vote for PPC. And that's why I was like, okay, like if you want to throw some shit here, I'll throw some back at you. And they're like, no, please,
Dude,
don't do that. Only we can do that,
Conservatives?
right? It's like, yeah.
conservatives in America, I can't speak for Canada, but it sounds very similar. Conservatives who always call people snowflakes are the biggest fucking snowflakes. The moment you tell them, like, Daddy Trump passed more gun legislation than Barack Obama did,
oh my god,
The most conservative gun
they're
legislation.
like, no,
in
but
history.
Obama wanted to take
the
the
guns
guns.
first.
He wanted to take them. We had to compromise this law because nobody cares about bump stocks. Do you really need a bump stock? Like, well, that's not the fucking
Dude,
point.
my uncle is like so bad for that stuff. He's like, no, Devin. He's like, listen, he has to do that because the liberals just won't let down. He has to do that stuff. It's like, no, he doesn't. Be a man. like I would respect a leader that like I would respect a Stalin that at least you know what you're getting, and it's like, yeah, this is what you're getting, and like at least it's not like this, like, guys, this is chess.
The
Okay,
most
not checking.
pro Second Amendment president of all time.
Guys, the Second Amendment has been under attack by these Democrats that I used to support in the 90s. Guys. Yeah, I know. It's that's all it is just one big cope, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
All I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And like, here's the thing. If you try to blame other people for this nation being crappy, it's like, look at yourself in the mirror and change yourself. Are you addicted to porn? Are you addicted to drugs? Are you addicted to alcohol? Maybe you should fix that in your life instead of blaming other people for who they voted for.
Yeah.
Right? Do you have resentment towards your parents? Do you know that the Bible says like those that like respect their parents will have long lives? Right? It's like, that's why it's like, it's just so interesting when I'm gonna Bible pill for a second here, but it's like with people that have issues
Devin.
with their parents,
Yeah.
they're miserable. All they ever talk about is how mommy and daddy suck and this, that, and the other. But it's like, but then people who have good relationships with their parents, like people like me, I don't sit there all day and think about how much my parents suck, right? It says to respect all parents, not the good ones or the bad ones, right? But it's just like stuff like that. It's like, look yourself in the mirror and figure out what your issues are yourself and work on those. Because if you want to make this nation better, that's going to be with working on ourselves. And that's,
I like that. Start small. Start on yourself and go
Yes.
from there. That's good.
Like,
That is a good message across the board, religious or non-religious. That is, I think,
Yes.
something everyone should be able to identify with.
because you don't have to be religious to want to get rid of, the scum in your life. Like, like you don't have to be. I'm not religious either. I do not like religion. I do not like man-made religion. I despise it. And guess what? Like, I have debates all the time. Like, I don't want to start any debates here, but like with Catholics, when Catholics send me stuff about Mother Mary, I'm like, bro, like, if you want to see what I say, send me a meme about Mother Mary, and I will send you some Bible verses, and we'll have a talk. But like,
So the point that you were
man.
making though about starting small, I 100% agree. The problem that I see with other people is when they'll be like, well, that's just selfish. You're being selfish. And the one thing that I've come to learn is that in order to take care of others, you have to take care of yourself first. If you want to take care of others, like by all means. If you don't want to take care of others, yeah, I can think you're a selfish dickhead, but I'm not going to force you to, help others. And this idea that the poor can help the poor, I hate to say it, like that's just not the case. If homeless people could help not be, their friends not be homeless, they wouldn't all be friends and being homeless on the street together. Sometimes you have to be selfish and help yourself, and then you can go back and help others once you yourself are mentally healthy, physically healthy, maybe financially healthy, if that's what you consider to be important. Then you can help others. And this idea that doing that makes you a selfish person, I mean, yeah, but there's not anything wrong with being a selfish person. It's just creating this culture where, oh, well, we all have these same problems, so we should all help each other not have this problem. But we can't do that if the individuals don't step out of that problem and fix it for themselves. It's very difficult to unify and solve a problem for a whole group of people before somebody paves a way to do it on the individual level.
Mm-hmm. I do want to make a correction to myself first. It says obey your parents, not respect your parents. But I do it like that's the exact same thing. So like, let's go into a personal part of my life. So I've struggled with pornography for 13 years of my life. And not like I was like a guy that was watching it like 15 times a day and, masturbating continually, but it just was like a daily thing. And like, I realized this is like scarring my family. It's not just my own choices are destroying myself, but they also then get destroyed, like pushed onto my kids and my wife. So I'm not being the man I could be for them. So I decided, I guess it's 4 months ago, to just eliminate that stuff from my life, right? Because like, here's the thing: I can blame Aaron O'Toole or Justin Trudeau or whatever, but like it's a cope, because it's like, if I want to make my life better, I can. I have the tools to do it, just like everyone else has the tools to do it too.
Yeah.
So
I think, yeah, your number one responsibility is to yourself and the people around you. And I think taking personal responsibility and not blaming, a big sky daddy or the man sitting in a seat, halfway across the country making decisions for you. I think that's a big part of maturity, just being able to take responsibility for your own actions.
And don't get me wrong, there are certain things that Sky Daddy in Washington or wherever the fuck your capital is in Canada make decisions that make your life
brother, it's Ottawa.
Yes,
that,
Ottawa.
that make your lives more difficult to be
More
self-sustaining.
difficult, yes.
But
100%.
at the end of the day, much like upstate New York, much like a bunch of other places, and I'm not saying upstate New York is a fucking gold standard where to be. They still have a lot of bullshit that they all follow. I'm just, guns in particular, they're like, no, fuck that. There are a bunch of places that just don't acknowledge or don't comply with certain laws that they think are fucking stupid. That, for example, maybe California does. And if we all had this mentality of, why the fuck am I going to listen to, this fucking orange man or fucking pedophile or whoever the fuck?
Yeah.
Why am I going to listen to what these people have to say about my life? They've never met me. Why are they making decisions for me and my family? If you just had this mentality of, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want anyway. Yes, you are taking an inherent risk. But if you judge your surroundings and the people around you and the area that you're in, it's very easy to be like, okay, well, nobody's going to fucking care if I collect rainwater, like nobody's going to come and arrest me. And I'm not saying go collect rainwater.
Oh, yeah.
But just,
I forgot that's illegal in the States. It's not illegal up here.
Is that illegal federally in the States, or is that just depending on your jurisdiction?
I think it's depending on the state that you're in.
Yeah, because that's fucking stupid.
That is super weird.
Well, there's a bunch of I think they're called like yellow laws. Like there's a law in New York that frogs aren't allowed to croak past midnight. Like this is a law on the books that's still on. Like there's a bunch of stupid fucking laws that like still exist. I think they're called the yellow laws that like they're just dumb.
Bro, is that a gaslight towards like Pepe the Frog?
This was a law. Like,
is this a dog whistle right now?
I don't know.
You can't be on 4chan past 12 at night.
I think peaceful non-compliance for whatever, if that's the route that you decide to go, I think that is the best way to just kind of be a happier
change
individual.
The culture.
I
agree.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so true. Like foster relationships and build the culture from the ground up. And I think that the sooner people start realizing that, hearts and minds are one on an individual level and not on a grand stage, like the sooner people are going to realize that, as much as we've been blackpilling everybody this whole time, like there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like if you just are focused, get some people that are kind of on the same wavelength, or just educate people, be patient, start on a community level and build outwards. Like there is change as possible, regardless of whether you're, up, down, left, right, whatever. There is a way that isn't like the them versus us that we're seeing so much these days. That is so, again, no matter where you land politically or in terms of beliefs, like is so exhausting and so backwards too. Because the only people that are held back by the them versus us is them and us. It's not affecting the people who are really making the changes.
I honestly think like if like the far left and the far right, or the whatever and all the people who just fundamentally and morally disagree with each other based on surface level things actually sat down and talked to each other, I think they'd have a lot more in common than they think. Sometimes. Not necessarily always.
All the discourse is over the internet now, where there's no context, and there's also no
there's a dehumanizing aspect to it as well.
That, and there's no like if I was standing next to you and I called you a name that you didn't like I'm risking getting punched in the face, okay?
Yeah.
Right? But when I'm on this computer, even right now, since I'm not in the same room as you, I could say whatever I wanted without the repercussions. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Right? So that's kind of the next thing, too. It's like when you actually have discussions in person, then you kind of eliminate a lot of that like tension, because A, you can hear someone's context in their voice and words, and B, there could be repercussions for what you say.
Yeah.
Like right away, and not just like, haha, I group blocked you, or group reported you, so you got your voice taken away on social media. I'm such a hero now.
Yeah, it's very strange, especially when you start seeing, because, for example, I was driving home from work, and there was a Trump rally, huge Trump rally. He came to speak in Colorado, and there were like protests blocking the streets, and somehow, some way, I got caught literally in the middle. On one side of the street, it was like all these Trump supporters. On the other side, it was all these Democrats. Somehow they decided to like surround my vehicle, and I'll never forget this fucking jackass. I don't know how, like, I picked him out from the crowd, and there was just hundreds of people. I picked this jackass out from the fucking crowd for like 15 seconds. He had this like black mask on. He was on the left side, so like the Democrat side. And I just see this motherfucker making his way through the crowd, gets up to my truck. By the way, these people are already like kind of like banging on my truck because I'm in military uniform. One side I'm on the driver's side. They're like, hell yeah, fuck them libs, because I'm in uniform, thinking I'm automatically conservative or something. And on the right, they're like yelling like stupid shit. They're like, we need the people in uniform to support us right now against these fascists. And this guy ran up through the crowd and just punched my truck. Just punched it.
Oh, motherfucker.
Just like like I don't know what he was. He just sprinted up, bam, and then took back off in the crowd. And I'm sitting there, I'm not concerned. I'm just in this fucking truck, and I'm just like, this is really what people are like. They're not yelling at each other. They're yelling at me, who's just literally.
It was wrong place,
It was
wrong
like
time.
a fucking metaphor. Like I have the left pressuring me on one side, the right pressuring me on the other, and then I'm just sitting in the middle in my fucking truck, and I'm like, "You're all fucking retarded. Like, leave me the fuck alone. Let me drive home. Like, I don't care about anything that's going
Clowns to the
about."
left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
Oh my god, I love that. That sucks, though.
I'm assuming after he punched your truck, you instantly started supporting his
Yeah,
cause.
I mean that's how it goes,
That's how you win hearts and minds. You just vandalize their vehicles.
People are just. And I said this story not to just self-indulge in myself, but I'm curious, in Canada, do you guys, because you saw all the news? I mean, I don't see any Canadian news because nobody fucking cares about Canada. But
not even Canada cares.
I don't blame you. Okay, there's nothing cool up here besides fentanyl overdoses and whatever else. That's literally what Canada is.
So are these things happening in Canada too, where there are literally people out on the streets just yelling at each other and being fucking autistic?
Outside of Quebec, I haven't really seen a ton of it. Sorry, you guys go on.
I've been to a couple. Oh my goodness! Wow, sorry, I hurt my hip yesterday. Okay. Yesterday I went to not yesterday. My goodness, I'm talking about I had baseball yesterday. I hurt myself, but I've been to a couple of like the anti-lockdown rallies. I've been to a couple of the rallies for. Like I went to like the march in Ottawa for the gun rights and stuff back like last September. Like it's not really like it was almost awkward because like we were like marching through like the restaurant district in Ottawa, and like people just were kind of just like who are these guys, right? Like there wasn't really anyone yelling at us, but when we finished the march, we looked over and like 20 like Antifa people showed up, and they like caught
Antifa?
like one girl that was there's
Antifa
You have
there.
Canadian Antifa?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they're just regular
we
Antifa.
freaking hate fascists.
Holy fuck.
Holy smokes.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, they just love kids a lot. But anyways, pretty much there's like 20 of them, and there's like literally like 10,000 of us, and like they had like their own little spot like that was like lined out where they could protest us, or they were protesting something. But anyways, they caught one girl, and there's a video on YouTube of her walking. She had like a thin blue line Canadian edition flag. She was like wearing it as like a cape, and she they were all calling her racist because she had like that thin blue line flag, and then they're like racist, racist, racist to this like poor like 45-year-old woman that just clearly like doesn't want any trouble.
Yeah.
So I would say it's not like as bad, but I also haven't been to the really big stuff. I went to like one that was local. It was like probably 90 of us that were standing at City Hall against like the lockdowns and mask mandates and stuff like that. And there'd be a couple people that drive by and say like, "Go home, you effing clowns."
Oh my
Like,
god. Yeah.
You get like those guys that like you're like, okay, cool, like you really got me. I'm gonna go home now, bro. No,
Yeah.
now I'm just gonna stay here because I want you to see you. Like now you gave me more motivation to be here. I actually did want to go home, but now that you called me an effing clown, now I'm just gonna stay here.
I remember when the assault weapon ban went through, like a couple months later, my friend who's a UPS driver was in like rural Nova Scotia somewhere doing some deliveries, and there was like a bumper sticker on this like older white dude's car, which was like very clearly custom made, but this is how passionate he felt about it. That said, "Thank you, Justin Trudeau, for banning assault weapons. We don't need an NRA up here." And like I'm barely paraphrasing this. That's just how just cringy this was. But like over a year ago, I remember that. Just what a fuckhead. But no, like
And that's like what Canadian culture is. It's basically we don't want to be America. That's all we have anymore. It's not like, hey, maple syrups, polar bears, hockey, and like Tim Hortons, which sucks now, by the way. But, like,
they're owned by
it's
Brazilian
absolute garbage.
multinational.
Like,
Yeah, you think we're mad now? Just let's talk about Tim Hortons' new coffee,
Dude.
okay? You want to hear angry?
that
you know what's-
double, I'm telling you right now, is garbage.
Yeah, McDonald's, funny enough, owns Tim Hortons' old distributor. So the
Yeah.
McDonald's gives the good coffee.
Yeah,
At half the
true.
price. It's a bargain.
Yeah, you get no roll up the rim, but they got rid of that anyway, so.
Yeah, because you can't touch anything anymore. It's illegal.
Yeah. You go to the gulag.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I remember
Yeah. No.
peak COVID. Were you guys actually like forcing people to quarantine in hotels?
They still are, even.
Yeah.
They never got
Like
rid
from
of
the
it.
beginning, it was there was like stay-at-home orders issued. Most businesses were forced to close, and yeah, if you were coming into the country, either by plane or by vehicle, they were supposed to be doing some testing that they didn't do for a long time. But eventually, what it turned into is you have to do a test before you come to Canada. You have to test when you get to Canada, and you have to test like 8 days later. And for a long time, what they were doing is you had to stay at hotels that the government decided on at your own expense.
Were people
And
complying
so
with
these
this?
are hotels that are like at the airport. Yeah, because if you don't, it was, I believe, a $10,000 fine and maybe 6 months imprisonment. I think something like
Okay,
that.
so hypothetically,
Like it was quite a hefty fine.
hypothetically, I take a plane into Canada, land at the airport, and I just walk out and go visit Nathan. What happens?
I'm pretty sure.
Actually,
So I've heard a story of a guy. He drove over the border because Americans can drive into Canada now.
yeah, I
He
don't
drove
think
over the
we can
border.
go
They
over.
asked him at the border. This was like probably within the last month. They said, "Where are you going?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going to a family funeral." They're like, "Okay." Like, "Are you vaccinated?" He just said, "It's not your business." Like, my medical history, and they just let him go.
Huh.
And it was a friend. It was a friend of mine's friend. So, like, again, I maybe could be missing context here, but pretty much, like, I don't think there's anything really stopping you coming to Canada. They will ask if you have your juice yet, but yeah, like, pretty much he just said, like, don't take this license, like, don't just drive
Yeah,
up
obviously.
here and say, hey, well, Hoser gun guy told me I can come up here. Sorry, Hoser gun guy told me I can come up here.
That's
See
a very
some of
good
them-
Mitch impression.
See
that's
some
my
damn
that
no,
is
Mitch is more like I definitely can hear the upstate in you now. I don't know if I can do an upstate one. I can do like Long Island and say coffee.
Coffee,
Coffee.
anything that has off in it, it sounds like off. Like there's an
Off.
AHF off.
So my dad has a house in Florida, and which is the most typical Ontario thing you can do. And all of his like pool guys have been from like Long Island.
I mean, Long Island is so Long Island and Staten Island are kind of their own fucking thing. Staten Island's fucking just a giant dumpster. New Jersey is the armpit of America. Long Island is like less of a giant dumpster, but still kind of a giant dumpster. New York City, I fucking hate it, but if you ever need something to do, you can go to New York City and do literally whatever the fuck you want.
I really, really, really want to be robbed at Times Square.
That won't happen anymore.
You know what?
I mean, it might.
That's the true New York experience.
Yeah.
I want to get robbed at gunpoint in Times Square. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
So back in the day, like when I was young, going to New York before. So Giuliani used to be fucking worshipped in New York before he became like a Milton ice cream cone Donald Trump dude. He used to be fucking worshipped in New York because he essentially made the subway not fucking garbage. And it's gotten significantly better since. But back when I was a kid, going to Times Square during Christmas was a fucking nightmare, or just anywhere in New York City was a fucking nightmare because so there could be a cop like touching your one arm, and then there could be a guy that's robbing you touching your other arm. And as soon as that guy takes 2 steps, like the guy that robbed you takes 2 steps, like fucking backwards, he's gone. Like he's lost. You'll never get your shit back again, even though that cop is right there. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. Mitch, did I ever tell you about my first experience in Elizabeth, New Jersey?
I bet it fucking sucked. It's like Grand Theft Auto. Dude, driving through fucking New Jersey is like playing Grand Theft Auto online. They don't know how to fucking drive. They're like fucking terrorists over there. I refuse to fucking drive in New Jersey because it's literally just like laws don't fucking exist. And don't get me wrong, that's cool. But like driving, like common sense also doesn't exist on top of laws not existing. It's Grand Theft Auto down there. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, Mitch, and everyone, I'm just going to explain this little story. So, I worked for an airline before the coup and all of this, and this is not even that long ago. I want to say, 2019, 2018. Either way, so I was in New York, and I was staying at the airport in...
Which one, JFK?
I was staying at the airport hotel.
JFK or Newark?
So, Newark.
Oh, that's a Jewish airport.
So, yeah...
It is.
I'm at the airport, and I have this thing. Whenever I go down to America, I have to get Popeye's chicken because Popeye's chicken's fucking great.
No, it's
not.
Yes, it is. What? Fuck you, Mitch. It's my favorite food. If I could eat Popeyes every day, I would. We don't have it here. Fuck you.
Yes, we do. And I have one.
You guys have one in fucking
Ontario.
Ontario.
You lucky dicks. There's no fast food within 100 kilometers of me in any direction.
That's a really good thing. It's all soy. It's literally destroying your body.
I don't care. It's Popeye's chicken.
As I ate Burger King this morning.
Yes, you came onto the podcast with a Burger King cup.
Sorry, I don't.
Just as a big hypocrite.
I just want to clarify. I don't mean to interrupt you anymore. I just want to clarify. When I say Newark is a Jewish airport, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that is literally where all the Hasidic Jews in New York go to fly out of. You go to Newark Airport.
Yeah, actually,
you're going to see.
There's quite a
all
few
of them
because they're on the planes, and I see
Sorry,
them.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they're. Also, to clarify, Mitch's wife is Jewish. L'chaim.
She is not Hasidic Jewish, but
yes.
she is kind of Jewish, yeah, and Mexican,
yeah,
and ginger,
and Mexican,
Mexican ginger Jewish. Yeah. Sorry,
mitzvah.
That's a tongue twister. Holy smokes.
What was I talking about again? Right. So, I Google Maps from the airport Hilton where the closest Popeyes is, and turns out it's a 15-minute walk. So I asked the lady that works the counter, just like, hey, like Popeyes is over here. You know how to get there? And she goes, you don't want to go to that area. It's bad. So I decide to ignore her, go to the hotel, drop all my stuff off, and I'm still in my work clothes. It's this fucking wanky little blue suit. Go to the door. The people at the hotel ask, hey, where are you going? And I say, yeah, I'm just going to Popeyes. And they say the exact same thing. You probably don't want to go there. It's a bad area. So I ignore it again. Start walking down to the Popeyes. You know, I'm maybe 5 minutes away from the hotel at this point, and I just start to hear blood-curdling screaming. Yep. Like
New Jersey.
So I stop, and this shirtless man, like emaciated shirtless man, wearing ragged shorts, runs out of a bush and disappears into the bush across the street. He just like tears across the road. And I wait for a second just because it's so bizarre. And then another shirtless, emaciated man runs after him screaming, I'm going to fucking kill you, and disappears into the same bush. So at this point, it's like, all right, that was weird, but, you know, I'm not going to let that get between me and Popeyes. So I can...
They had a principle. I love it.
Yeah.
The man denied his chicken.
Chicken is more important. So I go another block, and I'm at the intersection before I turn onto the Popeye Street, and I see there's a red car pulled up on the side of the road, and there's 3 large black women beating the absolute fuck out of this other this skinny homeless. I'm assuming homeless because he was also wearing basically rags. White guy who was trying to steal one of their purses, and they're just kicking the absolute shit out of this guy. And little old naive me, I'm standing there, in probably the worst neighborhood I've ever been in. I walk towards him with my phone. I'm just like, "Hey, do you need any help?" And it's time stops.
Oh, Nathan, you're so adorable. What?
So
Four of them look up at me.
That's so Canadian. Literally so Canadian.
Yeah.
Can I help you?
Can I help you?
Hey, can I help? And the guy tears off, bleeding from everywhere. The women all get into this waiting red car, and they peel off down the street. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck just happened? And then a homeless guy who was standing next to the McDonald's that was right next to this entire incident comes up to me and goes, "This is a bad area. You probably shouldn't be here."
Holy shit.
So then I look across the street. There's a fucking cop car that was watching the whole thing. There are 2 uniformed police officers just sitting there watching this happen. Maybe 50 meters away.
Wow, you just experienced a New Jersey moment.
I just experienced New Jersey. He wasn't joking. It's just Grand Theft Auto.
Dude,
it's Grand Theft Auto all the time.
90% of New Jersey.
How was that chicken though?
After I passed, more drug dealers, I assumed to be drug dealers because, they fit every stereotype, and also were paying for their food with wads of cash. And what I assumed was a prostitute on a lot of drugs, speaking in tongues. I got my 4-piece spicy chicken meal and then ate all of it in one kind of sad sitting. It was worth it. I would do it again. I have done it again since then.
So New Jersey, 90% is Grand Theft Auto Online. The other 10% is like the richest, snobbiest fucking people. And there's no middle class there. It is Grand Theft Auto Online. Everybody is just, it's fucking chaos. And then the other 10% is gated communities, rich people. But I swear to God, I don't know what the fuck happened to New Jersey. I've only heard stories from like my family, like my older family, that always talked about how New York City was like garbage, and now New Jersey was like the place to fucking be. New Jersey was beautiful. And then something fucking switched, and New Jersey went full New York City except on steroids. Like New Jersey is stuck in like the fucking 30s of New York City. Just crime, just fucking no law, like do whatever the fuck you want, which sounds great except for the fact that there is still kind of laws that are like selectively enforced, so it just creates this whole weird fucking culture. New Jersey is fucking hell. I hate New Jersey.
And you can't defend yourself, right?
No, so gun laws they're not as bad as New York City unless that's changed in the recent years, but they're pretty fucking bad. New Jersey is just fucking garbage. What used to happen actually was people from New York would go over to New Jersey, buy guns, and bring them back to New York. But then New York City put pressure on New Jersey to fix that. That whole area, when you get that many people that close to each other with the history that New York City and New Jersey has, like it creates this really, really bad environment. Because you have picture you have the fucking Italian mob, you had fucking Rikers, you have like Capone, like you have all these fucking like organized crime units in New York City that would like go to New Jersey to like sleep at night. New Jersey. It was just fucking. Don't go to New Jersey. If you live in New Jersey, I'm sorry.
Well, I've honestly have had zero desire to ever go there. I've been to New York once. I think we went shopping or something like that. I forget. It was like right by the Canadian border. So like I think it was like
upstate.
Yeah, it's super close to Niagara.
Buffalo sorry, I've been in New York to the Buffalo airport to fly out because it's way cheaper. They put this like crazy tax on airplane travel in Ontario. So that basically every Ontarian just goes to the States to fly before, obviously, pre-COOF.
Yeah.
But like I've been to a lot of states actually. I've been to Florida, obviously 'cause I'm from Ontario. You go to Florida, you have to do that. I've been to like Knob Creek in Kentucky and stayed at like the most like disgusting like hotel ever. Because in Canada, like I'm pretty sure like nationwide, you cannot smoke in hotel rooms anymore. Confirm, please. West Coast, East Coast.
Sounds about right. West
Yeah.
Coast.
East Coast, can you smoke in a hotel room?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't think so.
Bro, you don't just stay in hotel rooms, bro?
The only time
Yeah, bro. What the
I
hell,
stay
man?
in hotel rooms, but like per our contract, they're usually fairly nice. I don't know about fucking motels or whatnot. The last time I remember having a hotel room people smoked in was like a Roach Motel in Vegas in 2010.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like
That being said, I haven't stayed in a Roach Motel since then, and I haven't been in a room that someone has. I haven't been in like a nice hotel room that someone has smoked in either.
Sorry,
country.
it wasn't a hotel; it was a motel. I will say.
Yeah.
But it was in Kentucky, so like you can just. It was in Louisville, Kentucky, so it was just disgusting. It was like a rotted out Chevy truck, like that was like permanently parked in front of our room and stuff. Like it was pretty sweet. White Castle down the road, which is the biggest letdown ever. I'm like, man, like White Castle is gonna be amazing. It was not. And it's also interesting too because in Ontario you can't buy alcohol. Like when you buy alcohol in Ontario, you have to buy it from the government. Like there is literally
It's like that here too.
Yeah, it's called the LCBO in Ontario, and I don't know what's called out in Nova Scotia. You can
NSLC, and they charge probably twice as much as alcohol costs in America.
Yeah, like a 2-4 of beer is probably like I don't really buy much alcohol. It's probably like $45, I think, Canadian.
Yeah,
for a 2-4.
Jesus.
Yeah, so like it's really interesting when you go to the States or Quebec, you can see alcohol being sold in convenience stores. But yeah, we went to this convenience store, bought a bunch of cigars, we bought American Four Locos because Four Locos in Canada don't have the caffeine in them because it's like illegal or whatever.
Yeah, we have really strict caffeine limits. Like our reigns only have 180 milligrams of caffeine compared to America's 300.
Yeah,
Freedom.
So we bought four Four Locos and a 30 pack of Rolling Rock, and there's like a black lady behind the counter. She's like, "You white boys are crazy."
No. you know what I think my favorite thing about America is that we just don't get here. Just like the
big comforting black woman.
Yes.
I know we don't have that.
Yeah, and I love that. It's one of my favorite things about America.
So I was out shooting with his page's name's Photogenic Firearms. He's down in Florida. He's about 2 hours away from my dad's place. And I was driving back home the one night, and I'm like, man, I'm hungry. I need some gas. So I stopped in to get some gas, walked into the McDonald's. And yeah, it was like this 40-year-old black woman. She's like, "Hi, sugar." Hi, honey. And I'm just like, man, like, thank you. Like, this is what I needed. Like, I just felt so welcomed and comforted. Like up here, just kind of here's your money. Get the heck out of the way.
Yeah.
And like that comforting black woman, you're just like, man, I'd come back here every day just to hear this.
Yeah. It's so nice. It's so nice. And I mean, we kind of have the small town Joanne archetype here, which is nice as well. But
I distrust people that are that nice. But that's so being from one of the coasts, I feel like that's just a thing. Like you're not fucking nice to people. It's why are you holding this door open for me? You're a fucking weirdo. But yeah,
really?
It's fucking.
Well, that's like the norm.
Yeah,
here.
you don't do that. You don't do that where I'm from. If somebody I remember the first time I left New York, I went down to Georgia for basic training, and after I graduated,
Did you meet Iraq veteran 8888?
I did not.
Well, that's cringe.
I went to airborne school, and I was allowed a little bit of freedom, and we ended up breaking the the travel restriction. We went to Alabama, and we went to somewhere, and somebody opened a door open for me, and I just stopped. And I'm like, no, I'm not going in. I thought because that's a sign that you're about to get fucking robbed in New York. That's not a thing.
Man, you are such
really?
such a Yankee. You are such a Yankee,
so much.
Man.
Every time I go to New York, I hold doors open for people, and I'm just
you don't do
overly nice,
that.
and people look like I've got three heads.
No, it's a sign that somebody wants to get behind you and fucking pickpocket you or something. It's just not a thing.
Jesus.
Wow.
And it even happened in Colorado.
like that.
I went out and I visited before she was my wife. I would come out to Colorado and visit her, and people were fucking nice here. and it blows me away. I'm like, I don't like this. Why are you asking? Like, you're walking on the street in like College Town, Fort Collins, Colorado, and people are like, "Hi, how are you?" As you're walking past them, and you're like, "Who the fuck are you? Like, I don't know you." It's
Wow.
so weird.
New York sounds terrible, man.
Yeah,
So here's my story with doors opening. Obviously, like I open doors for people and stuff because that's just
yeah, you're Canadian. You have to.
Up in
Yeah,
Canada,
that's what we do. Yeah.
So I got married in Jamaica, okay, to my wife back in 2016, and so I actually have a fascination with Jamaica. I really enjoyed
Jamaica,
the time.
New York, or Jamaica, the country?
The
Okay.
country. Heck no, New York.
Let's go to Jamaica, New York to get married,
don't know.
honey.
Yeah, man. Jamaica, New York, man. Yeah,
Canadians do weird
Right?
shit. I don't know.
Yeah, we do. So, anyways, I got married in Jamaica. Loved it. So, like every time, because in my town, we hire a lot of Jamaicans that come up here to pick like the tobacco, to pick like just help out
That's
farms and
racist.
stuff. So, like when I see them around, I usually like to talk to them. So I'm like, hey, like I'm interested in your culture, type of thing, right? So the one time I was going to the bank, and there's like 5 Jamaicans in front of me, and they would literally open the door just enough to go inside, like and like close it on the guy behind that was like 2 feet behind. And I was like, what a bunch of jerks. That's what I thought to myself. I'm like, man, these guys are jerks, right? So I work with a guy who lived in Jamaica as a kid. Like his dad's Jamaican, so he's half Jamaican. I was like, man, I'm like, you Jamaican guys are jerks. And he's like, what do you mean? So I explained him the story. He's like, oh, dude. He's like, no, in Jamaica, it's considered very, very rude to leave the door open because of the air conditioning.
Mm.
So, like, when they open the doors, they open it just as much as they need to get into the building, and then they close it.
Oh,
Right?
that makes sense.
Yeah, because they're actually being nice to the business. And I was like, man, I'm like, just because like of my culture shock, I was like, you guys are jerks. But in reality, we're the jerks holding the door open for 30 seconds for someone across the parking lot to walk.
That makes sense.
Right? We're letting all the air conditioning out. Yeah, it does actually make more sense to just kind of like, you just get in and yeah. But man, like Yankee, I'm not going to lie, like this is just from hanging out with 1776 Duck too much, but Yankee Land sounds terrible. Like he's from North Carolina. He was so nice. He would say like, ma'am and britches. I almost busted my britches. This, which is a term I've never even heard of before. But like, just so nice. And like, when you'd go to order his food, he'd be like, ma'am, I'd like to have myself a cheeseburger, ma'am, with a cherry Coke. Like, I don't know. It just seems so weird that you guys don't trust each other, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because people are terrible. But
yeah, especially in the big city, I think people are
we don't fucking trust people.
genuinely, it definitely can be kind of terrible.
I mean, maybe that's changed since I've left. I haven't been to New York in like fucking 8 or 9 years, but
I don't
that
think
way.
it has changed. I was there.
I think it's actually gotten worse.
Yeah.
Like,
I was there at
type
the
in
start of
New
the
York
pandemic.
City-
And, like, holy shit.
I've heard New York City
yeah,
has
if you
gotten
type
better,
in like
though.
New York City, I've heard it's gotten worse. Like if you like Google New York City man, it's like New York City man robs someone in broad daylight. New York City man shoots other man. New York City man robs other man. Like it's just like,
Well,
Okay, I just looked up New York City,
yes,
and the top 2 results. Number 1, footage reveals new details in tourist melee at New York City restaurant. Second result, greatest city in the world, and a picture of New York City.
hey, look, I have a deep love for the state of New York. I hate the politicians there, but I fucking love New York. I would go back and live there if it wasn't for the stupid fucking laws.
forget about it. Forget about it.
You know, as much
It sounds like a horror.
I love the culture there. You want to know the best thing
Hey,
about
I'm
New York?
walking
You want to know the
here.
fucking best thing about New York? Breakfast sandwiches
Let me
and
guess.
coffee. 2 best things about New York.
You gotta say coffee.
Coffee. Anywhere you go in New York, it can be fucking 6 a.m. And you want to know what you're going to see? You're going to see some foreigner who doesn't speak a word of fucking English setting up a little illegal, non-permitted food cart. And he's going to make you a fresh egg breakfast sandwich and the best coffee you've ever had in your fucking life. And then there's going to be some NYPD that go up there like, hey, you can't fucking be here. And he's just going to be like, hey, you want some fucking free whatever the fuck in whatever language he speaks? And then they'll kind of get the gist of it and then they'll leave him the fuck alone. It is the best culture. I love it. Food there is fantastic. And I kind of like the attitude of the people there. It's leave me the fuck alone.
I'm just gonna go on the record here, and maybe offend a lot of people with this too. Canadian food sucks.
Honestly,
What even is Canadian food,
Poutine.
though?
It's like American food, but
Ooh,
like
I like
but
poutine, though.
like 80% of the flavor. You know what I mean? Like you had like when I was in Missouri shooting machine guns at what's it even called now? Ozark Machine Gun. Like he gave me a Coke, and I'm like I drank it. I'm like, this stuff's amazing. Like, why does it taste different? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, what the heck do we do to our Coke up in Canada? It just tastes like it literally was so much better. And like the restaurant foods are better.
It's
like,
funny you say that.
Basically, all our food it's
I will say that. Yeah, I'll
specifically with Coke, not cocaine, just Coca-Cola. In America, we say that not everybody knows the secret. Go to any Mexican market. Like, it has to be legitimate Mexican. Like, they don't speak English there. There's one that's very close to me. The Coke in Mexican markets is so much better. The Coca-Cola from Mexico is just significantly better than the Coca-Cola in America. Don't know why. So it's funny that, like, the further south you go, the Coca-Cola gets...
They just gets better. I've never actually had a Coke. I don't know, it just never happened.
Nathan, if you've ever
soft drinks weren't allowed.
If you ever come visit me in Colorado, we're gonna go to that Mexican market that I always post the food I get from. They don't speak English. I'll order you some food. It's fucking delicious. If you
know what, deal. I love Mexican food. There's just so little of it here. Our Hispanic population is like 4.
If you order in English, they do something to it that's not as good. If you order in Spanish, they respect you and they make it like how they would back in Mexico or something. I don't know.
Maybe that's.
Can I have a taco, please?
My dad is a
taco with some guacamole.
Yeah. My dad's a big simp for Asian people, and when we used to go to restaurants and stuff, he would try and order in fucking Cantonese or Mandarin or whatever they dialect they spoke there, and it was just the cringiest fucking thing. And I hope what you're talking about is not like that.
Dude, no. That makes me think of... So I... because I'm a good boy. I visited my grandparents, and they're like, "Oh, you got to come to this Korean place. It's so good. It's so good." Oh, okay, sure. So we go there for dinner, and lady comes up, and like you can tell, like ESL, like just got a pretty thick accent, and so my how old is he now? Like late 70s or like maybe early 80s now. Grandpa looks her dead in the eyes and says, "Hello, how's your night going?" in Korean to her. And he's like this short, portly Italian guy. And the fucking look in her eyes. She's like, "Oh my God, who is this guy?" But they gave us the best food ever. And he's like, "You picked up a thing or two in Korea. I wouldn't want to go back." And I'm like, "Holy shit, Gramps, I forgot. I totally forgot."
Oh my God.
He's like, "The food's good, but I don't want to go back." I'm like, "Okay, understandable."
There's like
for good reason.
There's like a secret agreement between white people and the Mexicans here in America that if you order in Spanish, even if it's terrible Spanish, like they treat you better or something. I don't know, but
there was an attempt.
There's an attempt. They respect you. They give you good food, and
it's like it's interesting in Canada because like if you want like Mexican food, it's all like corporations. It's not like in my area at least, it's all just like a corporate restaurant, and it's all made by like people from India.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like it's not actually like like that. And the same thing. It's like it's like it's not bad. Like I'll go get a burrito and stuff like that. But it's like there's no like legitimate like actual Mexican restaurants, at least in my area. 'Cause my area, for ethnically speaking, like obviously we don't speak any French at all down in southern Ontario. There's good like it's basically mostly Scottish background, like English background, stuff like that. Dutch, like so many Dutch people here because they're all farmers that sold their property and then came here because it's way cheaper and you got way more land and way more freedom too. Well, for now, I guess not really anymore, but and then like a lot of like Eastern people have moved here too. Like how do you even say that nicely? I guess I'm just so used to saying it not nicely.
Say it not nicely.
Will it get beeped out?
No.
I mean, we can theoretically. But we also probably won't.
Oh, I won't say
it.
You
called the European.
No, the Eastern whatever, like the Eastern Indian people.
Oh, that's terrible! Oh my God!
Jesus Christ!
Oh man, that makes me feel.
I thought you were talking about white people.
Fucking heinous shit.
No.
Oh,
this is Southern Ontario.
We need to actually remove this.
Yeah, you gotta remove that part.
Oh no.
That's what's like. You want me to actually say it? Okay. This is your fault.
I thought you were talking about white people, like fucking British people or something.
No, because the thing is, nobody really cares much about people's backgrounds here, except for if your skin color is different. You know what I mean? Like nobody really. If you're just white, you're just like, oh, you're just Canadian. Like we just kind of get in this like melting pot. But there's not like I'm Italian Canadian. Like it's not really a thing. It's just nobody really cares.
How does it feel to still pay homage to royalty in Britain?
I just want to say, God save the
Pain.
Queen. God save the Queen.
What?
Fuck you.
Yeah, get out of here with that crap.
Get out of here
I
with
know.
that fucking redcoat bullshit.
Should have won the war.
Wait, so you guys weren't this upset about me being racist, but
Should have won the war. Fucking losers.
yeah. Well,
we
it's
should
interesting.
have lost 1812.
Well, like my dad's side came from Pennsylvania in the 1790s, so they were royalists. How bad is that? They literally had it so good. And they're like, yeah, we're just
Wait, what were you guys taught about the War of 1812? Nathan, don't give your opinion. I already know yours. What were you guys taught about 1812?
I've heard what you guys talk about it before, but I'll just say what we've been told, that we guys absolutely demolished America, Canada, our home and native land, like that type of like hoorah. America
We went
sucks.
and ate their food and burned down their building, and it was epic, guys. That's what
You guys were taught that you guys fucked America up because we were told nothing about Canada. I didn't even know Canada was even fucking involved in the War of 1812. Had no idea.
Well, technically it isn't, because it's
That wasn't Canada yet.
yeah,
It was
not even
it
until
was just the colonies owned by Britain.
1867, right?
Yeah.
And you guys are taught like you defeated America. Like that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
dude,
the
yes.
reason the White House is white is because we burned it down. That's something we are all taught. No
Dude,
shit.
pretty much like anytime in hockey when it's like the Olympic like finals and it's like America versus Canada, like let's just say if America won, people would be all on their Facebook pages being like, we're gonna go down to, or sorry,
We're gonna burn the White House down again.
Washington, and burn down the building, because we did that before.
Yeah, we were taught that the English people retreated up north, and then they were literally going over and harassing us in America. They were just like coming over, harassing us, shooting at us, not really leaving. So we were like, all right, fuck it, and went up to Canada and fucked them up. We weren't taught anything about Canada even being involved other than it just being the geographical location of the war. Like we were like nothing about Canadians, nothing about Canada defeating us, none of that shit. It was all the English people were harassing us, so we went up there to harass them back until they left.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
But like that's like my Canadian history class is basically it was like World War I, women's rights. They got to vote, women. World War II, and then like that's basically like the history class that we had. Like it was, and like we learned a little bit about like 1812 and stuff, but that was basically just how amazing Canada is and that we have no flaws and our healthcare system is so great that there should be no competition to it at all, and it should be 100% illegal to even compete against it. Right? That's basically what like. They'll say Americans are brainwashed and Americans are dumb, but it's like we're just as brainwashed, like just in our own unique Canadian way.
Well, and what we should be focusing on, speaking of Canadian history, is after World War I, we brought in a temporary measure in order to pay back our debt from the war, because wars are expensive.
Oh yes.
And
Income tax.
We called it income tax. And we thought, you know what? We didn't need it before. We just need it to, help pay back, because those Ross rifles cost a lot, and so did those tin hats we made them get, and those itchy wool uniforms. We got to pay that back. And I'm
gonna Google their quote right now.
They never got rid of it. We're still paying a temporary measure in income tax to this day.
It was 2 weeks to flatten the war debt. That's what it was.
Yeah, 500 days of 2 weeks.
Don't fucking say that. Just 2 more weeks, guys, and we'll flatten the war debt.
Yeah. Income tax sucks. Property tax, in my opinion, is even worse.
Wait, so is it like in America where you can never actually fully own land because you pay property tax on it, even if you have like no loan or anything?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Why is that a thing?
Dude, because it's public schooling, bro.
It's so dumb.
Who is going to brainwash the kids?
That's so dumb.
Are you going to brainwash the kids?
if we're lucky.
It's so crazy.
I am brainwashed.
It's so crazy to think like, hey, I want to own land in America or Canada, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna buy all this land outright, and I'm just gonna live self-sufficiently on my own. I don't need any of this fucking shit. Yet you still have to pay property tax. That's so like, so the land is not yours. The land is the government.
No, it's you're renting it, right? Yeah,
that's dumb. It's really dumb.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's interesting too, because like let's go back to the election that's happening tomorrow. People just think that, like our only issue right now in Canada is defeating that OIC, Order in Council, and they ban our AR-15s. Like I will not be told I can't take my registered firearm with my 5-round mags to the range so I can punch holes in paper. You're gonna tell me I can't do? It's like there's so many more issues at bay than just the guns.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just a couple guns. It's like, but like, yeah, there's so many different issues with our country. Like, if you really wanted to starve the beast and go back to a small government, you'd have to get rid of income tax and you'd have to get rid of property tax.
Yeah.
I personally am not too opposed to
who'll
sales
build
tax.
the roads?
Roads don't exist without tax, Nathan.
Our roads barely exist with tax.
Yeah.
Have you seen Canadian highways? They're terrible.
Oh, they're fucking so bad.
Not as bad as Michigan's though. You can literally feel when you leave Michigan. Because then it gets even worse in Ohio. Yeah, no, like, yeah, there's so many. Like, if you want to starve the beast, so yes, you have to get rid of income tax. You have to get rid of property tax. So, like I said, I'm not necessarily against a sales tax because you could avoid that as well yourself. You could grow your own vegetables. You could hunt your own food. You could grow your own food and stuff like that. But it's like, my goodness, all you guys are voting on is taking your registered AR-15 to a government-approved range where if you even like go off track of going to that range and get caught by the cops, you get literally your gun seized and go to court for years. That's what you're fighting for. You want to be able to still do that? Like, wouldn't you want better laws? Or are you just coping?
Oh, Devin, don't you understand? Those are weapons of war designed for killing children, and they have no place on Canadian streets.
I know,
even though they've never been used in a violent crime in Canada ever.
Yes, and like,
don't you know, it's for the better of everyone.
Yeah, and also, the police have them, but no one should have them. They're weapons of war designed only to kill children. But
wait, is that why the RCMP wants them so bad?
Is there a Canadian national debt like the U.S. national debt?
Dude, so Ontario, I already know you guys already know this, but Ontario is that for its provincial status, or so state status, has the highest debt in the world.
Really?
Even more than California, more than New York. I'm pretty sure it's California and New York combined. I wouldn't doubt that it's
what
more.
The fuck did they do
Ontario.
there?
Oh my
what did
God.
they do there?
Dude, okay. What did they do here? Oh my goodness. So basically they like brought in like all this green energy where they just basically wrote blank checks to people. If you put a solar panel in your yard, you just got this like crazy good deal. Like you're like paid for like decades basically by the government for them like to rent your power. It's just insane. Like our healthcare is unstable. Like it's unstable. You can't have a socialized healthcare system. It will collapse over time. What else do we have? Our terrible public schooling, our terrible roads, just the amount of there's so much corruption. Like when Doug Ford
seeing something that like 50% of our tax dollars go towards in some form towards the medical system, and I don't know how true that is.
I've heard it's 80% of income tax goes towards healthcare.
Yeah,
so that's what's interesting.
Healthcare is so terrible. It's so terrible.
I know.
There are people dying.
So when how Americans get really, really, really upset when like their flag gets burnt or stuff like that. And the Canadians are like,
the magic sky cloth. Look, if you don't pray to the magic sky cloth before every single sporting event, before school, the magic sky cloth will not grant you your fucking freedoms. All right?
And see this guy knows. But in Canada, that is our thing. You can make fun of Canada all you want, but criticize our terrible healthcare system, our socialized healthcare system, and
people get so fucking mad.
Dude, you know, in America, they have to pay like $1,000 a month for insurance. It's like, what's your income tax? Is 80% of that, or I've already even heard 90% goes towards healthcare.
Yeah.
So like, my income tax would be, I think I pay $1,600 a month just to my income tax.
Jesus fuck.
And so the 80% of that would go towards my health insurance.
Yeah.
Which would be what, $1,200 ish?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, bro, it's so free, bro.
But
It's literally
the
the
big
most
thing with our health insurance here too is just how terrible it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
genuinely terrible. You pay so much into it, and in America, if you're paying the equivalent amount, which we can get into the semantics of and the ethics of it some other time, but here I saw someone with a very severe degenerative neurological disorder who got a letter from the hospital saying it was a 5-year wait until they could see a specialist, in which they would have already been dead.
but Nathan, you're forgetting that it's free.
But it's free. It's
and
free.
it's illegal
So
for you
it
to have
doesn't
private
matter-
health care?
Yes.
No, but no one wants it. Nobody even wants a 2-tier healthcare system because we all have to suffer equally.
And this is what's interesting. This is how good our healthcare system is. That my father during a quote unquote pandemic flew down to Florida for 3 months to pay out of pocket for healthcare because it's not a service offered up here. My dad has suffered his entire life with pneumonia, and he gets it really, really bad. And he finally went and got it cured.
People are flying
Florida.
from Canada to the United States to pay for health care.
Yes,
Yes.
that's really
Yeah.
common. I know a ton of
Because
people.
they'll die on the waiting list, man. I mean, even like my experience as a paramedic is like I'll pick someone up, and it's not always serious because people abuse the system a lot. But we have to go to everyone. But I, like, for example, picked up someone that was having like chest pain and dizziness, and all these things are making me think immediately this is some sort of cardiac event. But due to budget cuts, we can't actually look at all of the leads on their heart because they won't give us life packs because they're expensive. So I can't get an exact look at what I'm dealing with, but I've got an idea. So I go through our protocols, load this person up. We get to the hospital. From when we get to their house to the hospital is probably like 20 minutes. We made really good time on this because we recognize the severity of it. And then guess how many hours as a paramedic wearing a uniform trying to deliver someone having a cardiac event to an emergency
Let me guess.
worker?
Can I guess the
I was-
hours?
4.
Yes, go ahead.
6.
It was 2.5.
Oh, okay.
But during those
And
2.5
Look
hours,
at that cope right there. I just coped so hard by saying 2.5 was not that bad. That's how bad Canadian healthcare is.
Yeah. And this
Holy
is someone who
smokes.
called 911, and we waited for 2.5 hours in the hallway while I am like not on my hands and knees, but essentially begging this nurse to take a look at this person because I know it's severe. And they're like, "Yeah, I'm it though." It was one person handling the entire emergency room.
But dude, it's free.
It's nuts.
It's-
but it's free.
It's
But
so
it's
it's
free.
so free.
But it's free, and
And
you're
it's like
not
this
allowed,
ripple
and you're
effect.
not allowed to get your own to get better care. You're not allowed to.
But that's how good. But that's how good it is, though, because it's so good that all competition's illegal, and that's what you want. You want a monopoly, a government monopoly that's enforced by police officers and military force. That's what makes a free country
Yeah,
free.
you
To answer your question,
you want the most.
Does that answer
But
In
you're totally right, Mitch. It's crazy though, but people do that all the time. My grandpa needed a knee replacement, and he waited like 6 years to get it. But he could have just driven across the U.S. border and got it in like 2 weeks if he'd paid out of pocket, because we're so backed up for all sorts of reasons. And like people like in Canada do have the saying of like, you'll die in the waiting room, you'll die on the waiting list, because it happens. Like
A lot,
every
yeah.
year, tons of people will die in the emergency waiting room because we don't have enough staff to see them, or we're overwhelmed, or one reason or another. And you'll be on it. Like a transplant list is never a fast thing anyways, but it's even longer in Canada because we only have the monopoly dealing with it, and they have certain specific ways of doing it, and it takes so
and
much
nobody's
time.
bringing this up as like an issue.
dude. So I ran. You can look it up. 2014, I ran for the Libertarian Party of Ontario, and basically our platform was that we're gonna have basically you can stay in the government system and keep paying into it, but you could be removed from it and then go through your own insurance. And I'm no joke. I got like 360 votes in a county with 106,000 people in it. Okay, so I got nothing. But people would literally walk up to me like, "You're gonna destroy healthcare.
What? By giving people a
You
choice?
just want to
Why?
take away healthcare from everyone,
By giving people a
Oh my
choice?
god.
dude." And because it's like I said, it's like the same thing with like we talk about the American flag, where like just like basically logic goes out the window. This magical cloth is like which I get it. Like people like their flags. I'm not like whatever. You can like your flag if you want. I hate the Canadian flag personally. I think I like the one before it. But like, It's the same thing. It's just all logic goes out the window. It's just like, dude, like America, it's $50,000 if you get your finger cut off and put back on. Or it's like, dude, it costs $8,000 for a birth. It's like, okay, how much do you think it actually costs for us to have these services in Canada? You think it's like it's just free that the doctors just put in time for free? They go to school for whatever 8 years or whatever it is, just for free, just as a passion project? No, right? They all get paid, and like the thing is, they don't even get paid that well compared to American stuff. So people will just go to the States. Like all of our good doctors, they'll just be like, you know what, I can make way more in the States, and they'll just go to the States.
I make people upset,
and that's the next thing. It's like we basically are just surviving off immigrants coming here as doctors, because that's basically what all the doctors are turning into. They're all like East Indians or like Chinese, whatever, that's fine. But it's like, but that's because all of our doctors just leave.
You can do the education for less in Canada than you can in the States. And once you do your first year and get that out of the way, you can just jump across the border and make significantly more. And I think a big thing too is working in a broken system is exhausting. And I'm not saying the system in the States is perfect, because we can always find problems, but like at least you'll know, like, hey, I'm getting to do things, and everybody here, we're going to do our best, and we're going to have time to see them.
So I got a steel chip in my eye at work. I was wearing safety glasses too. It snuck up underneath, and it really sucked. So my dad was like, well, it's like, you're going to have to go to the hospital. And like what we do is, so that we don't get bugged by the government, I just say, hey, I just was working on my car. So we don't have to deal with WSIB or whatever. So I go in, and I had to wait 4 hours. And like every time I blinked, it like would hurt, right? Anyways, they butcher it. And I had to go back 4 more times. And it was 4 hours each time I had to go back.
Holy
this is
shit.
within a week. So it's over 16 hours of just waiting in this hospital. And like the one time, the nurse, you could just tell, was so exhausted, because like, and she just like had like the worst coffee breath ever, and they have to get literally right up into your face, and like they put you in this like mouth, so then you don't move, and they have this like little die grinder, and they have to like zzz, like cut it out. Yeah, like I literally hate our healthcare system so much that like with my children, we had our births at home. Because the government will also pay for you to have a midwife too, and it's about half the price of the. Yes. So like, we just went through that aspect, and then we just also with my daughter, we hired a doula, which is like a birth coach. And if anyone out there is going to do a home birth, and it's very stressful doing it alone, it's nice to have some help. And a doula is a lot of help. She was like $1,000, and like, which you may think is expensive, but she came 2 times before, just to kind of get to know us. Came right when it was the birth time and stayed the whole time. Would show us like techniques of like how to like deal with the pain of whatever it's called, those pains.
Childbirth,
yeah. And like it was like a super good time, and like she cleaned up afterwards. So there is a lot of mess. It's gross, but like she did all the dirty work, so then we could like cuddle on the bed with our new daughter, right? It's like, with the first time, it's just us and the midwives, and like they're swamped doing paperwork the whole time, because when you're doing a home birth, they have to like constantly check your, like, to make sure the baby's safe and stuff, because like they're
fetal heart rate, they're running that ultrasound the whole time, that awesome like sound. Love that.
Because like with my daughter, her heart rate kept dropping too much between contractions. And that was pretty scary. And like the midwife, you could just tell, really didn't want to do this at my house, even though that's what they're trained to do, and like they offer the service. And she's like, well, your daughter's, or not daughter, we didn't know, we always waited to know, but she's like, your baby's heart rate's dropping too much, we need to go to the hospital. I'm like, okay. I'm like, how long can we wait before we decide? She's like, well, I don't know, it's not my baby. I was like, well, that's super professional.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh my god.
One thing,
very, very professional.
One thing I enjoy doing whenever talking about healthcare, it makes people really fucking angry. I ask them if they think healthcare is a right. Sometimes they'll say yes. Sometimes they'll say no. For the folks that say yes, I'm like, okay, so you believe that you have the right to somebody else's labor, which is quite literally the definition of slavery. So you support slavery. They're like, no, the doctors aren't going to be slaves. Well, you just said that you believe that you have a right to healthcare, which is somebody's labor. So you have a right to somebody's labor. And they go through these weird mental gymnastics to justify it as not slavery. They're like, are you comparing healthcare to what black people had to go through in the 17 and 1800s? I'm like, Well, I'm not saying they're out picking cotton, but I am saying that you're basically saying you have a right to their labor, and they're like, but they're getting paid. Well, it doesn't change the fact that you are saying you have a right to what they do. And I don't know, it's one of my favorite things to do because healthcare is such a thing where you can.
Well, you should definitely, if you really want to go around mental gymnastics, have that debate with Canadians, because then you'll be like,
oh my
huh?
god.
Yeah. Well, and Canadians, I don't know. This is probably a problem in the States too, because there's people everywhere who abuse everything. But like, I have to be careful how I say this too.
Hey,
like
I've already said the worst thing so far, so
Oh my
That's
god.
true. That's
if it's bad, we can just bleep it.
I'm not going there. No, I'm not. No, I'm not going there. I was just gonna say, like working on the Boo Boo bus. Like I saw such strange stuff, like that people would call for because they knew we would come no matter what. Like they'd be like, "Oh, my favorite." This guy says, "Oh, it feels like my heart stopped," and it's like, well, that's not how that works. You wouldn't really be able to say that over the phone if your heart stopped, buddy. And then he's like, because they're transcribing it onto our computer as we're driving there, right? And he's like, "Oh, I feel like I'm having a seizure." And it's like, that's also not how that works. All these things. And we show up. He's just sitting there with an empty bottle. "Hey, you guys want to take me to the liquor store?" I'm like, what? But we can't say no. We have to take him to the hospital. We can't take him to the liquor store, obviously. But
What?
there's so much abuse because people know they don't have to pay for it. And I don't know if the answer is saying, like, on the worst day of your life that now you have to front $500 or whatever the price would be. But like, there's no dissuasion to going in, or like people go to the hospital because they got the sniffles. It's like, that's such a waste of resources. But because we have, again, whether you agree or disagree with it, the quote unquote right, one of the few maybe rights we have in Canada to be seen by a medical professional, people will always use it and err on the side of caution because it's free, bro. It's free.
You want to hear a good one? This happened last year to my my in-laws, like best friend. So he had like really bad cancer, and then he also had really bad a hernia. And they didn't realize that the hernia was the problem. Like he was like probably like a 220-pound man, and he ended up dying 90 pounds. He just rotted away on this hospital bed, and it was like during the coup, so they wouldn't operate on him because it wasn't safe or whatever. And then so this man just literally just died because of Doug Ford. And then my other friend, his sister-in-law she's 25 and wanted her tubes tied. And they tied her tubes during a pandemic. So they were literally like if you needed heart surgery, oh, tough luck, sucks to suck. But if you want to tie your tubes, like literally, like she got in like instantly. Like it wasn't like a waiting list. It was like, oh yeah, hop on in. Yeah, like
Jesus.
that is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it's such a weird list of priorities, man.
Yeah.
So weird. I have no answers. I'm always like, what the hell is going on? Which is part of why I'm not doing that job too much anymore.
No, you don't have to have answers for that. Like that, it's literally just like what the heck is going on in this country, and like why aren't people like paying attention to
People
that?
will still abuse that similarly in the US where the AMBO rides. People still abuse that. Like they'll be like, "I have chest pain." Okay.
Are they free in BC? And
Yeah.
because they're not free
sorry,
on
in BC or
yeah, BC. Are they free?
yeah, or well, they're free if you have a status card, and I think they're $50 flat rate otherwise.
Okay.
If I remember right, I might be wrong on that, so don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Ontario, I think it's like $100 or $200 to go, like for an ambulance ride.
Jesus, it's 400 here, I think.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, a lot of people will have like a lot of medics, if they know it's kind of bullshit, they'll try and get the patient to sign this refusal, like care refusal form.
Oh, I know all about that.
That's like a thing where it's kind of like, oh, homeless fucking Jim called for the 8th time this week and said that he has chest pain, but he gets to the hospital and nothing's wrong. How about this care refusal form?
Yeah, and those are, you got to be so careful too, because like a big thing that I always find is it's like, I'd rather be safe than sorry. And like everyone, even if it's like, there's a couple people that I can think of who like were not daily callers but pretty close, and it's like I still have to look at them every time like there's something new. And then I'll be like, hey, I'd love your autograph, and also I need to read this form to you before
Yeah.
I get it. But
No, there's the same abuses.
yeah, there's so much
Yeah,
abuse.
It's kind of the same abuses, but at least like I don't know. Everybody's saying like hospitals are fucking jam packed with COVID and all this other shit. But I recently was at a hospital having a kid, and I mean, for me, it was a great experience. For my wife, she said it was super great. We were fortunate enough to have very good doctors, very good people there. Surprisingly, on a military-based hospital, we were expecting shit because I get shit healthcare, but for some reason, they care much more about spouses than they do the people in the military.
Oh, as sad as that is, I'm glad it was good for you and
Yeah.
your wife, though. That's good.
'Cause
I'm really glad to
those
hear that.
experiences can often be bad, so it's good that didn't suck.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's a pretty as you know, it's like you and I both know, it's a very stressful situation.
Yes. And it was honestly probably one of the better experiences I've ever had in the hospital or just with medical care in general. Because with me personally, I mean, like the healthcare that you get if you're a soldier, which is the government healthcare, is fucking hot dog shit, which is why so many people get privatized healthcare because it's so much better.
Yeah, the VA
and
sucks.
you actually get better care. But we were super fortunate for that. But we went to 3 different hospitals for like different tests all throughout like the pregnancy, and none of them were jam packed. No, like they all had just people there. Like everybody was super kind. Like it was genuinely good because all this shit that you see in the media about it just being jam packed, everybody's overwhelmed. I mean, that's not the reality. Maybe in like some areas, I guess, but like everywhere that I've seen, just that's not the case at all. Like it's really not that bad.
In Ontario, they literally like the same type of story that's overflowing. We're all dying. So like when the first lockdown happened, I had this really weird pain in my testicle, like, and I was like, man, do I got like cancer or something? Like, what is going on here? It just burned, right? So I'm like, well, I don't want to go to the hospital. It's gonna be full of sick people. Like, there's gonna be like all these sick people there, right? So I go to the hospital and it was literally empty. Like there was like 12 nurses just chilling. Like because usually in Canada, you go into the triage, you tell them what your problem is, you give them your health card, they scan it, whatever. Ask like when the last time you were there, what your address is, all that jazz. And then you basically go to the waiting room and you're like, okay, like I literally brought a book. So, like I'm going to be reading my book, waiting, 4 hours to get in here. And they're like, okay, we want you to take a pee test because we want to make sure you don't have like some sort of bladder infection or something. So while I was in the bath, they gave me the cup and I walked out and I went to the washroom to pee. They paged me in. And I'm like, did I just hear my name? So I walk out and they're like, oh, like you're good to go. I'm like, okay. So I walk in. There's like 12 nurses just sitting there waiting. I walk into the room, okay, I'll probably be waiting in this room. Because usually what they do is they make you wait like an hour or two in the triage, and then they put you in a room. You have to wait another hour or two in the room. And I was in the room, like, okay, I'm going to be waiting like another hour or so, probably waiting. And the guy walks in right away, gave me my health care, and then I walked out.
Wow.
Right? And like that was like the fastest I've ever. And besides when my wife, the one time, she felt like she was dehydrated, like she thought she was like maybe like too dehydrated when she was pregnant, they let her in instantly. Like she was on like an IV, all that, or not IV. But
Yeah, that's just so inconsistent.
Maybe it was. I forget.
Though. Like, why?
That's the thing. Because it's a woman and it's a pregnancy, like, which I understand. Like they want to save the kid's life.
Absolutely, I'm not upset that your wife got care.
But they had her in there. But like the one time, my brother's friend, like we were big into dirt bikes when we were kids. My dad built us a whole track in our backyard because we have 4 acres, and he built like a 3-acre dirt bike track. It was amazing. And my brother's one friend tried to do a trick. It's called a saran wrap. It's when you like put your knee over top of the handlebar and like, I don't know. It's really stupid. Anyways, he landed directly on his knee from his dirt bike. And it just, his skin literally exploded back. And like it just was an exposed kneecap. No bleeding at all. Yeah, it was disgusting. So we brought him to the hospital. And like, yeah, like he got in right away because like he was absolutely fricked. But then what happened is this. At this hospital, they just sewed him up. They didn't x-ray him or anything. They're like, oh, whatever. They sewed him up. So the next day, so he went home, and the next morning, his leg was so swollen that they took him to the Better Hospital in a town called London, Ontario. And they literally left grass and gravel and other dirt in his wound and sewed it up. And then they x-rayed it, and his like leg was severely broken.
Yeah.
And he almost lost his leg from the infection. They actually attempted to amputate his leg because they were that like
incompetent.
Yes. And like that same hospital, it's the town I live in, is known for being terrible. Like they'll literally just like.
But it's free, bro. It's free.
I'll just say it.
It's free.
Woodstock, Ontario's office, my goodness, hospital is absolute dog crap. If you actually are in serious trouble, do not go there. Go to London or Ingersoll because you might die. Just saying.
Well, we're a little bit over 2 hours. I think this is a good place to end it. We'll have to do a part 2 because I really enjoy talking to the Snow Mexicans about what's going on up there.
Yeah.
Hey, anytime. Should we actually finally introduce ourselves or what?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe
No one knows who we are.
Yeah, plug
copy
yourselves.
paste it in the beginning.
Take
Yes.
as much time as you want. Talk about yourselves, what you got going on. How's it going?
Misty, ladies first.
Yeah, I'm Misty, I guess, from Misty Mountain Supply. I run a surplus store in Canada, ship all over North America. If you're really nice, I might ship all over the world for you.
Except for me, you won't ship me a Moisen.
Well, yeah, I won't do prison time to ship you something. But I don't like big government, and I like getting gear into the hands of the everyman, and that's what I'm all about. And I'm just happy to be here. Not
Based.
Yeah. That's my one exception. Sorry, ladies.
Hoser.
All right, well, I'm Hoser from Hoser Gun Guy. Just a guy up in Canada that likes guns and spreading the word on proper firearms ownership and responsibility. I am a married man. I have 2 children. I'm a machinist, I guess, and I just want to say I really appreciate you guys having me on the podcast, and I'm definitely down for a part 2, and we can maybe skip the healthcare and the bad words. But please bleep that out.
Don't worry. Our production manager will take care of it.
Yeah.
Thank you, manager. Thank you.
I'm gonna get canceled from working for my dad.
No,
man.
it's gonna get it's gonna get taken out. We said his name. Our production manager doesn't like his name on there. That's why we say it so much.
Yeah, he doesn't like us doxing him.
So,
Okay, good. Well, now you and I are both in the same boat, brother. So you know what to do now.
this week's sponsor, AWS. AWS has great belts.
Yes, Advanced Warfighting Solutions.
Yeah, get a belt. They make really good belts.
Yes.
And we're not just saying that. I've used their belts for years, and it's kind of fucking weird how they still support the page and podcast somehow. But they're cool people over there.
I really appreciate AWS. I really like my belt. I run it all the time now. It's in my go bag. I run it probably 3 times a week. It's pretty great. Yep. Also, Applied Gear. Their belts are pretty dope as well.
Except they're everyday carry belts. They're not war belts. So
yeah, they're just regular ass belts.
Well, they're better than a regular ass belt, Nathan.
Yes, I mean, like, it's a regular ass belt. Like, you can wear it without looking weird.
Yes, and it has a Cobra buckle. And the people that own it are really cool and still somehow support us. I don't know how.
Somehow.
Sorry for all our Snow Mexican friends. They don't ship to Canada. Get fucked.
Yeah, well, guess who does ship to Canada?
Oh,
Misty Mountain Supply.
Misty Mountain
Supply. And T-Rex arms.
Oh yeah, they do.
Oh yeah, don't forget about T-Rex arms.
And Mira Safety.
Yes. All of my T-Rex stuff has gotten here so fast. Like I've done like 2 orders from them in the last couple of months, and everything got here in like under 2 weeks, which is very fast from America to Canada.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, no, they're great. And like I even put in like my comment order, just being like, hey, like just please pray for Canada. We're not doing so well, and they like hand wrote me a letter.
Was it
Not
Kyle?
even joking. I like, they didn't say their name. I actually like teared up reading this letter, and I kept it because it's like such a like I was actually so honestly touched by that. It's like when I bought for my Cloud Defensive, I bought one of their rain lights. I just like I don't expect anything, but I just put like, hey, like pray for Canada. And I just put literally nothing.
Yeah, damn.
Which is fine. Like they don't have to like you don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
but it just really touched my heart when like they just took the time to handwrite me a little letter, and that was just really nice.
They have really good customer service.
Kyle over there does a really good job. He's a man.
He's a good CEO.
Yeah. They don't sponsor us, but we will talk good things about them.
Yeah, but I really like my stuff that I've bought there, like chest rig and a mod button and a bunch of other stuff.
I got a sidecar from them.
Yeah, I have their Orion belt. I have the like
Boo.
Belt's dope.
Not AWS belt. Boo.
Yeah.
Well, then send me. Hey, AWS, send me one. Then I'll shill your stuff till Kingdom Come. No, but like I just bought the T-Rex stuff just because it was like, oh, it's all kind of like a one-stop shop, and I run all high-speed gear tacos.
HSGI, yeah, I love their shit.
Yeah. No, I'm sure
They have
T-Rex Arm has a great belt.
Taco
There's a
right
lot of
here.
really good belts.
Oh, based and taco pilled.
I
Yeah.
do the half Kiwis. I like the half Kiwis.
Yes, I really like the half
Half
Kiwis.
are really
That's
nice.
what I do for most of my stuff now, but I think on my cummerbund I run tacos because I can put other stuff in them, right?
Mm. We don't have any other sponsors.
Yeah.
Not yet.
It could be Misty Mountain Supply if you keep
It
talking.
could be.
Like if you guys,
Yeah. Keep saying nice things about me. I don't write nice letters in my orders, but sometimes I draw gondolas, and
Yes.
sometimes
Yes, you did
I
for me.
draw other crude things.
You did it. You did it for me. You drew like when I bought that Russian hat off you, like that
Yeah.
Afghan cap or whatever. You showed me a little picture.
Yeah. Before we became friends, my buddy ordered a shitload of Ukrainian old rations from him, and my one of my fondest memories is we're at the top of this I don't want to say mountain, but like large rock face thing overlooking, and we just like pop it open. My friend pulls out this little tinny Ukrainian beef that's just covered in lard, takes a bite of it, and his face just sours, and he hands me the can. And then I ate it, and it was actually really good. I really liked it. I still have the rest of it in my like emergency supplies.
Get old Ukrainian.
There's
surplus
nothing better
beef.
than a cow that died. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
in
get it.
2018.
There's
or
nothing
something.
better than a how many like 3-year-old cow that died in Ukraine and then got shipped across a couple of borders. Just adds
Check
flavor.
out Misty Mountain Supply. And Misty Mountain Supply is like the Costco of Canadian surplus.
Hey,
MistyMountainSupply.com. Go there.
Is it
you
worth
can't
it?
use that now
Are
because he doesn't
you
say that
worth
it?
anymore, right? He's sponsored by
He
Brown
doesn't.
Owls.
It's ours
It's
now.
ours. We took it.
It's ours
Yeah.
now. He's got Brownells.
Yeah.
Brownells are big 2A supporters. Whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever.
well-
No, we're claiming the Costco thing.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
as soon as he's done with Brownells, we'll just take that one and apply it to.
We'll
Whatever.
just take
Wait,
Brownells.
wait.
We should reach out to BDU.
Well,
It's pretty cool. We should
yeah,
talk
we
to
talked
them.
to
just for fun. I don't care about
censor his name. We just said I don't know.
Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
I don't know
Oh,
if we
fuck.
can.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can say that we talked to that guy specifically who runs BDU. I don't know. We haven't asked him yet.
Yeah.
He was supposed to ask the BDU
Nobody's cool.
overlords if he could come on the podcast, and I don't know if he did, and they said no or not. But we did ask him, so maybe we'll have the guy that runs BDU come on.
Yeah.
But until then, we're still going to take Garand Thumb's Costco the Gun World
Yes.
for AWS.
Yeah. It's ours now.
Ladies, gentlemen, and often forgot, or I just messed him up.
And are often
That's
forgotten,
cringe.
but not by
Often
me.
forgotten. But not
Hey,
by
Not
me.
canteens.
Please cut that out too.
Cringe.
Any closing words
Just
before
cut.
the election tomorrow?
See y'all in the gulag.
Yeah.
God help us all.
You know that meme of that guy, the college basketball coach walking into the locker room and they all just start
Yeah.
cheering?
Yeah.
That will be us.
Bring the gulag.
We're all gonna make it, bros. We're all gonna make it.
All I gotta say is just basically, don't worry about what happens tomorrow. Just focus on making yourself better, and then also then your family and the people around you.
Yes.
Be the difference that you want to see. As cringe as that saying is, it is true.
No, I agree.
Ditto. That is well said. That is very well said. Thanks for having us on. This has been a ton of fun. Part 2 when?
Also,
Nag him in the comments on every post.
Yes.
also shout out to my wife for allowing me to come out here and not be too mad at me. She told me if I was gonna be over an hour that she's gonna start calling me, and it's been 3 hours. So.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Go get back to your wife.
Oh, that's fine. No, I'm just kidding. No, but honestly though, thank you guys so much. This has been a great opportunity, and I'm definitely down for part 2 if you guys want to keep her going.
We would love that personally. I'm
right.
totally speaking for Mitch here. See you guys.
See ya.
Oh,
Peace,
fuck, I
brother.
was muted that whole time. Snow Mexico Part 2.
Mitch, you
Snow
boomer!
Mexico Part 2 clusterfuck. Let's make it happen.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's
Right.
do it.
We could just start right now if you
Oh,
want.
fuck.
No, I'm just kidding. I need to go.
Yeah, we're at 3 hours. Let's keep going.
Okay, bye.